Finals tonight, Carolina plays host to Montreal, and it's the Hurricanes that can advance to take on Vegas in the Cup final with a win tonight. Puck drop is at 8, while for the NBA, Game 7 between the Spurs and Thunder is going to be tomorrow night at 8. But speaking of the NBA, looking ahead to the finals, Knicks center Mitchell Robinson was announced yesterday, to have broken his pinky. He has already had surgery, and the plan is right now for him to play Game 1. We got a little more information today. Head coach Mike Brown did confirm Robinson did not break his pinky in Game 4 or in practice, but Knicks PR staff, according to reporters on the scene, said the team would not get into specifics with the injury. Game 1 of the finals is on Wednesday. In baseball, Bisons are home tonight against Lehigh Valley. First pitch is at 6:05. You can listen to that game over on our sister station, The Bet 1520. Then in the majors, Jays at Baltimore at 7:05. The Mets host the Marlins at 7:10. Then at 9:40, Yankees, they're out west. They take on the Athletics. And catch every take, every reaction, and every big Buffalo sports moment live now on YouTube with Jeremy and Joe in the morning and Schopp and the Bulldog every afternoon. Watch your favorite WGR hosts anytime, anywhere, live on air, live on YouTube. It's brought to you by Belknap Heating and Cooling. For more comfort and less ka-ching, give Belknap a ring. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
My dad's not here right now. He's still at work. So I'm going to blast him.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I'm going to see if there's a clean version so that my parents and the people at my school will not get mad at me. We've got the spritzer filled with water just in case if stuff gets too fire. I'm going to set up the speaker and I'm going to listen to
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I think this is the best
Mike Schopp
feature that I've heard in a long time. I think his flow is really good in it, and I like his aggressiveness on it, and
the Bulldog.
Put not enough effort in it. I think overall his flow was good, but I don't like that mobile rapping. That was my review of
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Didn't need the spritzer. Wasn't fire enough. No spritzer for you. No spritzer.
This reminds me of yesterday when you were talking about Vegas and how somebody accused them of not treating their players well enough or their employees well enough. Mm-hmm. And you were like, and I was trying to sort of mess with the whole take and talk about how they were not allowed to eat bread and all of that, just trying to find a seat at that table, so to speak.
Can't wait to see why we started here.
And you're like, listen, can somebody tell me? Because I would like to know if there's more to this that I'm not aware of. You said that a few times, trying to cover yourself. Like,
yeah.
What do I not know about this Vegas thing?
Right.
So why is it the least bit secretive for the Knicks not to reveal when a guy broke his finger? Is there any? Can somebody tell me? I feel what bit am I doing? It's stand up and win. Can somebody tell me? Because I'd like to know. What is the practical reason why the Knicks don't want you to know when a player broke his finger? Like, what would happen? Did somebody on the team go up to him with a ball-peen hammer and just smash his finger?
What was it, a basketball-related activity or not?
Why does it matter?
They're trying to protect the player from being criticized for
What did he do?
Cleaning his barbecue and
Slammed it in
breaking
a fridge?
his finger. I don't know. Having one of his kids slamming in a car door. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe.
But maybe there's some. They think it'll be worse for this guy if it comes out that he was trying to get a spider out of his eye in the middle of the night and he broke his finger. Which I don't. That seems unlikely. But there's just some embarrassing pratfall. Because we're all, Scotty Scheffler last year. Oh, you heard he cut himself making pasta, like, oh, yeah, or he fell down with a wine glass and the stem went through his hand. I go, whatever, but fine, I'll buy your pasta story, whatever. So we live in a skeptical world.
Curious world.
Okay, that's another word for it. Sure. I could see the Knicks wanting to protect him if indeed there's something untoward that happened.
We're only skeptical about these things because sports lies to us all the time.
Constantly, yes.
They
with
never
regularity,
tell the truth on injuries.
As a business plan, they lie to us.
They never tell the truth on injuries, so what are you supposed to do with it?
Right.
You're supposed to be skeptical.
Sure.
They could tell us what happened, and I still wouldn't believe it. That's Scheffler.
That's right.
I still go ahead and have a special press conference just to disclose what happened to this guy's hand. Okay, I don't believe you. Next. I'm sick of you lying to me about injuries.
Right.
I mean, do you think Alex Tuck was really hurt? I'm not trying to get us into him again, but like I thought it was an interesting point to make a few times after the season ended with the Sabres that, remember, as non-forthcoming as they are as a rule anyway, especially in the playoffs, now when it's over, they have no obligation to tell you anything. And I could see a player looking at that either way.
Yeah, Tuck was always a tricky one to me. He's going into, what should be the payday of his lifetime. And, regardless of what he would have said about an injury, I think that still would have been the case. But nonetheless, on one hand, like I was saying all through the playoffs, and I even said it afterward, like I hope I hear that he's hurt, because I'm struggling with why you were such a ghost in the Montreal series. But the other side to that could be problematic to him is to say I had a back injury a month before you're about to hit the free agent market. Like you probably don't want to advertise that. So, lesser of two evils. Again, I don't know. I think there's a case to be made on either side that he would have either wanted to sort of validate his underperforming by explaining it away with an injury, and that might make teams go, okay, well that's fine because he'll be healed, and I'll give him $12 million. Or they could go, what's the injury? Is there a problem? Could it potentially linger? Is it going to reoccur? Whatever, and that could hurt him. So
that wins the day.
Yeah, I think so. I think
you'd rather not create suspicion about your body than basically explain why you didn't do well. And
you're also, looking like you're making an excuse too. Yeah. And so those two things probably outweigh the make Radio's the Bulldog feel better about my performance against Montreal. I think the long range outlook is I was fine, and I'm not here to tell you like I had something bothering me. I just didn't play. That the goals didn't come. Well,
what I don't know is when he does sign with whomever, when is the physical? Like if he's got something. It's a pretty wide range of injuries. Like if he had a broken pinky, like this Knicks guy, and he goes to the press conference, he's probably pretty safe in disclosing that because that's going to get better,
right?
And by the time next season starts, and somebody wants to invest in him, they're not worried about whether his finger is a chronic injury.
Right?
Like he's just okay, that'll heal. A back injury is maybe about as scary as it could get,
right?
And what was Eric Lindros? Was it head, but back, maybe?
He had back problems too.
A back injury can ruin your career, can end it.
Yep.
And so, if he doesn't want to, I'm not trying to say that that's what happened, but if he doesn't want to, if it is, and he doesn't want to talk about it, eventually he's going to have to pass a physical, and then, if you really want to litigate this without knowing the truth, it would be if all right, it would be a reason to not sign him because it could scare you a little bit. Wow, didn't he have to be hurt? And then he talked and said he wasn't, and there are reasons why he wouldn't have, even if he was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh well, to strike against.
Yeah,
I'm admitting it. I'm going pretty hard at that, but it does seem like it could make sense. Well, I don't know. This is the kind of thing. I think I've mellowed, but this is the kind of thing, especially when it's like the Knicks, and I couldn't care less, when it's far away, that just made me hate certain aspects of covering sports. Like, it doesn't even make sense. This is, Lossman and Vincent, Troy Vincent.
Right, yeah. What really happened there?
Why wouldn't you just be honest? And not only were they not honest, they held it against you for claiming that they weren't being honest.
Right.
And
that people who saw what happened and even knew what was going on behind the scenes were willing to tell you, like, there were veterans on the team that thought the guy was acting like a gym class hero and embarrassing them in no-tackle drills, and so someone hammered him.
I've maybe never gotten over that.
That's pretty much what happened, and Tom Donahoe never stopped pushing back against that.
And his men made you feel terrible.
Yeah.
Made you feel, tried to shame you.
Right.
For wanting to find out what really happened. When you had Vincent himself admit it.
Right. Yeah.
Not explicitly, but it was just like there was no question that there was some intent to try to, and then there was an accident. I mean, does that count as an accident? It was a misdemeanor. It was a football misdemeanor.
Sure. Yeah, you wanted to send a message, you ended up hurting the guy, and like you did. I'm sure didn't want to hurt him, but you wanted to smack him.
I've never really gotten over that with them, and it's all different people now, and just like this Knicks thing. If I'd want to quit the beat. It's the finals, and I just want to like. You really can't say that. We don't. It's hockey. You don't know what the injury is. And you have to accept some level of, if it gets out, then our player and therefore our team are at disadvantages because, theoretically, if Thompson had a back thing, right? He said,
Yep.
But we thought maybe he had a wrist injury, and probably on the inside, there's a lot more shared knowledge than we have access to. But if it's possible that Montreal players found out that he had a wrist injury, they could take that out on him.
For sure.
And maybe that would have happened, which gives you some defense if you're the team for just not being forthcoming about the injury. I mean, not to do the whole thing over again, but Thompson said it's none of your business, and he's wrong. Unfortunately for him, sports doesn't exist without the fans. People bet on games. It is our business, whether he likes it or not. And if he had just said, nothing's wrong with me, that would have been, people would have accepted that, if not believed it.
Yeah, they still would have been maybe skeptical about it, but reacting the way he did only amped up the idea that something's hindering him because...
Well, just put him, for me, we talked to Paul about it, and Paul goes into his whole thing about how, I don't mind, I don't care whether Paul minds, I just want it to be pointed out that it is people's business, and whatever he's doing or not doing to his risk factor as a player, I mean, he sounds naive to think that. Like he's terribly naive to think that it isn't the business of the media and the fans. Hockey they get away with so much anyway because apparently you don't have to disclose injuries in the playoffs. You never have to even disclose specifically what an injury is. We go the whole year with upper body. So let's just sort of accept the compromise here, Tage, and just it's kind of okay for you if you don't have to ever say the thing, but you can't be annoyed if somebody asks you and claim that it's none of their business. Of course it is. Anyway, just because of the Knicks, the pinky finger got me into all this.
He did explain.
Sweating.
I think whatever. I don't need to say. He explained himself. Like I think afterward, he was upset. He played terribly. He really made. Boy, fool of himself is too strong, but it was like pratfalls in that game. It was
game 2.
It was really bad, yeah. So I understand him being hot in that moment anyway too, but whatever. It's irrelevant to the point. The point is
for now
the same.
Sam Panayotovich today. That'll be in 20 minutes or so. Told me he wants to go to the Bills-Vikings game. Monday night, week 9, November 9th.
Okay.
I told him just sort of, I don't know why I even said this. I might go to that.
Sure you will. Sounds great.
He's like, road trip. Like, I haven't been to a Bills road game since I was in college. Well, almost, but, not professionally. We never go to the road games.
No.
Now we're not even, with them in the same way as before, so.
Right, it's less likely now, I would think.
I guess.
We're going to show up with them and do our show from whatever, a stadium.
How do I put this? It's not that serious. Just like the schedule, I doubt that you've memorized it yet.
I definitely have not, no.
But what are your thoughts about it? The fact, the little trivia point about that they play all 5 NFC opponents at night is interesting, and that's 3 road games, Vikings, like we talked about there, Rams and Packers as well, Detroit and Chicago at home, Detroit the home opener. It'll be fun. I mean, a lot of these, that's a good division. That's maybe the best division in the league, right? The NFC North? Might you say that?
Yeah. I mean, they definitely don't have a supposed bad team unless you think Minnesota is going to just spin their wheels.
NFC North versus NFC West.
See, Minnesota is not Arizona, I don't think. I feel like Arizona is in the mud right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is Brissett want a new contract now?
Yes.
By the way, like that's happening. Okay. I mean, imagine caring about the Cardinals the way we care about the Bills for just a moment, and living in a world where Jacoby Brissett is your incoming starter. And it reminds me of the time Dwayne Rollison was mad about what he was being paid. Like, dude,
we can lose with you. We can lose without you.
What are we doing here? Anyway, so they really weigh down the other three teams in that division. To me, in any given year, are all capable of winning the Super Bowl. Seattle just did. The Rams did pretty recently. The Niners have been there pretty recently. So to me, those teams are all still in windows where they could win it, and the Cardinals are not. And I think the NFC North is the same, but the Vikings are just a little – they're more like a 500-ish looking team to me than a team that could be among the worst in the league, which is what I guess I'm thinking about Arizona.
Yeah, me too. And I think the three teams above Minnesota are close enough to the three teams atop the NFC West.
Right. Even though the Lions are off a down year, whatever. But, yeah, I mean, I still think they'll be – they're a serious football team.
The Chiefs game on Thanksgiving night, every year that game with Kansas City is maybe the game of the year in the NFL on paper. And then a couple of times, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's lived up to that a time or two. Certainly in the playoffs it has a couple of times. Is that the game of the year on the Bills' schedule? Does it have to be? New England twice, at Denver, a playoff rematch. Chargers here, Houston in week one.
It has to be the Chiefs.
Ravens again.
It has to be the Chiefs.
Does?
Yeah, I think so. Baltimore's maybe close, and New England, deserves a seat at the table. But I think it's still the Chiefs. Even though off the down year with the Mahomes injury, I still feel like it's one of the games of the year in the league. And if I feel that way, then it's the best game on the Bills' schedule. It's the biggest game on the Bills' schedule, I think.
That's a different thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But there's not. I don't have another game that I would say it's a game of the year on the Bills. I don't think even Baltimore has quite the. I don't know. And plus, it's Thanksgiving night. I don't know. That's a pretty juicy spot, and it's those two quarterbacks and those two teams. To me, that it is. I don't want to say easily, but comfortably. Is that the same thing? Their best game
from a standpoint of marquee value,
right? Yeah. Interest,
if not more.
Casual interest, football, hardcore interest. It's the Chiefs and the Bills. Can't miss.
It's like the Patriots and the Colts.
Yes.
20 years ago.
That's right.
I think so. The fact that it is on a Thanksgiving night, in that slot, helps it. What doesn't help it is that Kansas City went 6-11.
Mm-hmm.
These are not division winners from last year. Maybe they're both favored to be again. I know the Bills are. I would guess the Chiefs are, but I'm not sure because Chargers are good. Denver's good. I think it's a conversation at least. I think that rivalry has transcended, and the holiday point, like I just said, you said it too. All of that it makes it a game you certainly circle. But I listed them. There are still at least a half a dozen other games that might end up being just as big. It's tough to say, to parse this a little bit too fine, it's tough to say the NFC games are bigger because they're the NFC.
Right. Denver is the next, or one of the New England games. But Denver, you've got, the Bills lost there in the divisional round. They won the division, Denver did. They were the 1 seed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. And with that game being on Christmas, if both teams have comparable years to last year, if they both are in line to hit their overs, let's say, that could be a game for playoff seed. It could be a game for the number 1 seed. It could be for 2 or 3, whatever. It could really matter. and it's, a month later than that Kansas City game. So the standings will be, it's week 16. The standings will be more, it'll be more obvious what's at stake than when they play Kansas City, I think I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives it a look at it, I think.
Well, New England is 2 times, of course, week 4 and then week 13. Neither is a night game. This is where you have to start, I think, for the Bills' chances. Forget holidays and rivalries and stuff. Not that there isn't a rivalry with the Patriots, but that's, I think, where you have to start is, we've been spending the last 3 or 4 summers talking about the importance of getting the top seed in the conference. And then last year, what, were they the 5? Like the Patriots won the division, and you, of course, do not get a home game in the first round. You're not likely to get a home game at all if you don't do that. So that's where you have to start. And again, like going pretty hard at this, maybe too hard. That game with New England that was in Buffalo last year was maybe week 5, the Sunday night that the Bills lost.
Diggs went off, yeah.
Yes, and were they not 4-0 going into that game and they lost to New England?
That sounds right. You want me to check? I can check pretty quickly, but I think that is right.
Upon the result of that game, it was a race. Like, it was on with New England, and we knew how easy their schedule was.
That's absolutely right. 4-0, they lost, and they lost the next week in Atlanta too.
Yes, and that ended up being the horse race. Like,
yeah.
The Bills never caught up, even with beating them in November or December.
December, yeah.
The Patriots couldn't lose.
Right.
And you never got there. So none of this is to say, like, what will happen with the Patriots. I mean, in my mind, almost definitely they take a step back. But you have to start there.
Yep.
For what's the path to the Super Bowl?
With that in mind, we never really did. It's just funny that we're starting with the schedule because you're right. I haven't memorized it. I haven't even done what I've been doing for 20 minutes or 15 minutes whenever we started, which is just sort of looking at it, scrolling through it, mentioning this game or that game. We haven't done any of that in here. And, I like sports, but I don't just stare at the Bills schedule when I'm at home on my couch.
Well, that's how we're different.
But looking at how the games fall, that second New England game being as early as it is, I might have preferred swapping that game with the second Miami game. Give me New England in week 17, and I've got a stake here. It hurts the second New England game that it's in week 13 to me, right after Kansas City. Sort of like how I mentioned with Denver. Like, Denver is close enough to the end. Maybe you have a better idea what the stakes are. What am I playing for? I'm playing New England in week 13, and I've got 5 more games after that. I don't know. I don't like that. I wish it was later. I wish it were more near the end.
If you really want to sink your teeth into this, that's week 13, and they'll have both had their bye. So say the Bills after that game have split with the Patriots, and they're both 8-4. So you're tied with a split and 5 games to go. The Patriot, you both have it tough. Bills go at Green Bay, Bears at Denver, Miami and the Jets. The Patriots,
Miami's on the road too, by the way.
At Miami and the Jets, right. The Patriots have home to the Vikings the Thursday night after the Bills game on the late Sunday. At Kansas City, at the Jets, Denver, and Miami. So their final 3 opponents are the same, just not in the same order.
Mm-hmm.
Denver, Miami, Jets, Denver, Miami. And, Minnesota and Kansas City are on the Bills' schedule as well, just earlier. Well, I'm getting excited for more schedule talk that I may force upon you in and out today.
No forcing necessary.
Okay, good.
I really mean, I'm liking looking at it.
Is the there it is.
I just haven't. The Sabres dominated my life. I did. The schedule, good, okay.
The Sabres won May.
That was the schedule
from the Bills.
There it is. Okay, thanks.
The Bills lost May.
Hockey game.
Now they're in the lead for June. Well, we'll see, actually, about that. Sam Panayotovich coming up. And Sal Capaccio today as well. Thanks for joining us on this Friday. Beautiful day. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
For more comfort.
Now's the perfect time to make yourself comfortable with a new electric heating and cooling system from Belknap.
In Western New York, summer and winter bring extreme temperature conditions. Make yourself comfortable with Mitsubishi electric heat pumps, designed to keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter, no matter how hot or cold it gets outside. Call Belknap today to learn more.
I'm Gary Garfel, president of Belknap. We work on your schedule. We don't charge more for weekends and evenings. That's why we say,
Give Belknap a ring.
Games fall, that second New England game being as early as it is, I might have preferred swapping that game with the second Miami game. Like, give me New England in week 17, and I've got a stake here. It hurts the second New England game that it's in week 13 to me, right after Kansas City. Sort of like how I mentioned with Denver. Like, Denver is close enough to the end. Maybe you have a better idea what the stakes are. What am I playing for? I'm playing New England in week 13, and I've got 5 more games after that. I don't know. I don't like that. I wish it was later. I wish it were more near the end.
If you really want to sink your teeth into this, that's week 13, and they'll have both had their bye. So say the Bills after that game have split with the Patriots, and they're both 8-4. So you're tied with a split and 5 games to go. The Patriot, you both have it tough. Bills go at Green Bay, Bears at Denver, Miami and the Jets. The Patriots,
Miami's on the road too, by the way.
At Miami and the Jets, right. The Patriots have home to the Vikings the Thursday night after the Bills game on this late Sunday. At Kansas City, at the Jets, Denver, and Miami. So their final 3 opponents are the same, just not in the same order.
Mm-hmm.
Denver, Miami, Jets, Jets, Denver, Miami. Well, I don't know. This is the kind of thing, I think I've mellowed, but this is the kind of thing, especially when it's like the Knicks, and I couldn't care less, when it's far away, that just made me hate certain aspects of covering sports. Like, it doesn't even make sense. This is, Lossman and Vincent, Troy Vincent.
Right, yeah. What really happened there?
Why wouldn't you just be honest? And not only were they not honest, they held it against you for claiming that they weren't being honest.
Right.
And
that people who saw what happened and even knew what was going on behind the scenes were willing to tell you, like, there were veterans on the team that thought the guy was acting like a gym class hero and embarrassing them in no-tackle drills, and so someone hammered him.
I've maybe never gotten over that.
That's pretty much what happened, and Tom Donahoe never stopped pushing back against that.
And his men made you feel terrible.
Yeah.
Made you feel, tried to shame you.
Right.
For wanting to find out what really happened when you had Vincent himself admit it.
Right. Yeah.
Not explicitly, but it was just like there was no question that there was some intent to try to, and then it was an accident. I mean, does that count as an accident? It was a misdemeanor. It was a football misdemeanor.
Sure. Yeah, you wanted to send a message, you ended up hurting the guy, and like you did, I'm sure didn't want to hurt him, but you wanted to smack him.
I've never really gotten over that with them. And it's all different people now and just like. We've learned over the years, and I mean this is a tremendous compliment to our guest, that we can pretty much go anywhere with him. You know, there are times when we do trade ideas before shows, like, what do you want to do? Here's my column. Here are my thoughts. Can we talk about this? Are you up on hockey? Whatever. Tennis, Bulldog. So the French Open, Yannick Sinner, the prohibitive favorite, went out the other day. He was up 2-5
Yeah.
Then he got overheated and lost.
Fell apart, yeah.
And today Djokovic lost. He's still in these things. Also up 2 sets, falling to a lifetime record in slams of 288-2 when leading by 2 sets in the match. So he's out. Maybe it's wide open. Don't ask me who to bet on because I don't know. I don't know if I could name anybody else anymore. But, you know, perhaps our guest could. Fox's Sam Panayotovich with us now on the West Her Hotline. Sam, are you betting tennis?
No, I'm not. I can tell you who's favored. Alexander Zverev is about plus 140 to win the French Open, and then the next 6 guys I've never heard of.
And Zverev is coming on now, so we could have an update to this by tonight.
All right. Well, funny enough, I'm sitting here and music is playing. Sam's on hold. We're about to start the segment. And what comes across my face on my Twitter feed but an ESPN tweet featuring a 3-home run performance by someone named Anthony Pack Jr. of the Texas Longhorns in the College World Series. And I do believe that was Sam's pick last week. And Mike, I think, tailed him on that. Yes. I, like an idiot, did not. I mean, whatever. They're pounding Holy Cross, so I don't know how much to make of it. I don't know how good Holy Cross is. But Texas in the College World Series so far looking pretty good, Sam.
Yes.
Good start, no doubt. I can tell you we did bet the over in that game today, which closed at 12.5.
Whoa!
And Texas got there by themselves. The thing about a team like Holy Cross, and not to dive into college baseball because nobody cares.
Go on.
Buffalo. But when Holy Cross's best pitcher can't make it out of the third inning, it doesn't get much better in the bullpen. So, I mean, this could realistically, if Texas wants to, Texas could win 24-0.
Their bracket is Holy Cross, maybe Cal Santa Barbara, and Tarleton or something like that. I mean, there's not a big name in the Austin Regional.
You'd have to like their chances of coming out of there, I guess. You know.
Yeah, well, I saw they were the 3rd favorite, which that lines up with how you were talking last week. Their odds are a little shorter now that they've made it to this point, but it sounds about where we were at last week or where you were at. I can't claim any part of it except that I listened to you and put money on it. That's it.
Can you imagine being a trader at DraftKings or FanDuel? Because we do this hit every week at 3:30. I'm just picturing being a trader at DraftKings after the weekly hit on this show, on this station, and somebody sitting at a desk goes, "We're getting flooded in Buffalo again on Texas Longhorns base," you know,
or Chinese hockey, or
Tage Thompson hat tricks,
something.
Yeah, that one day we all bet that horse in that race. We bet that horse from 9-1 to 3-1. Granted, the horse didn't win, but this show, as heard in the sounder, is Western New York sports giant. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we put a dent in the Texas liability.
I can't believe that would be true, but That would be very flattering. Yeah, that was a live horse race we lived through together on that one. Didn't turn out.
Well, we had that moment together. That's all
Yes.
you're really looking for.
What about World Cup, Sam? It's getting close. Are you in those streets?
I am. We actually did a Bear Bets this week on Fox. We had Mo Adu on the show. He was awesome. You know, most analysts you talk to are saying the same thing. It's either Spain or France. I think there's a bet floating around. You can take Spain and France or the field. Now, personally, I would take the field. I bet some Portugal to win the World Cup. I think they have the best midfield of all. And I say that because my best soccer handicapper says that. Again, I'm not handicapping soccer, nor am I handicapping, the men's tennis that Mike talked about earlier. You know, those in the know think that if you can get away from the favorites, you could obviously find some value. And the one thing to understand is that Mbappe, who's arguably the best player in the world for France, he's going to play this World Cup with a hamstring injury. Now, that's not to say that they can't blow through the easy teams in their group, but I don't like betting favorites in these tournaments. A lot of times the favorites don't win. I mean, soccer teams choke. Ask England. I mean, they've been one of the top favorites every World Cup, the last 4 World Cups. So I like Portugal. We were looking at a guy to have the golden boot, which is the most goals, and we took the guy on Spain. He's like 18-1. Oyarzabal.
Okay.
So those are some bets I made. Portugal to win about 10-1, and then Oyarzabal to have the most goals at 18-1. And then you look at, the elephant in the room. The Americans are favored to win the group. What could possibly go wrong there?
Right. I was just going to ask you, is it how silly, how indulgent is throwing $20 on the U.S. to win the whole thing?
Oh, $20. Do it.
The whole thing, really?
Yeah, I'm just asking. If it's, you probably know you're not winning, but is it completely insane?
No, there are worse things to do with $20, and we don't have to go into detail on that. I mean, I think we could all connect some dots there. They're 60-1. They're 70-1. Here's the thing, though. The problem with the USA price is that most of these bets are coming from the USA. So you're never going to get a true price in this racket, right? I mean, the Americans should probably be 100-1. But because you have, people like Bulldog saying, oh, I'll throw $20 on it, why not? It just sort of cheapens the value on USA. I think if you're looking to make a USA bet, though, bet them to make the semis at 9-1. That's a smarter bet, because then you can also hedge off that. Say they make the quarters with a chance to go to the semis, then you could just bet the other side on the money line if you want to. I don't think they're winning. I would not make that bet, but USA to reach the quarters at 3-1 or to make the semis at 9-1, those are a lot more realistic. It's just hard to envision them winning so many high-level games in a row once we get to the knockout stages.
Talking about the Bills' schedule earlier, Sam, you mentioned some interest in going to see the Bills play in Minnesota. That's in early November. Their schedule, and I don't know how unusual this is. This is sort of what maybe the NFL schedule always looks like. But in the Bills' case, I think it's just loaded with fun, highlight-type games. The fact that they play 5 NFC games, which is not abnormal. It's what they all would do. And all of them are in prime time, including Minnesota. That's a first for a team to play all their interconference games at night. There are more night games than ever, I suppose. But if you went into, and maybe you have, I think that you can do this, went into any teams week by week and just picked out a couple of games. I know Warren Sharp does this, because one time we talked to him months before the season. He's like, go bet Indianapolis in week 6 or something. I don't know if you've gotten that far, but that game in Minnesota, like a lot of them, they're going to be low spreads, probably. The Bills on the road against some really good NFC teams.
Well, it depends on if Kyler Murray can see over the line of scrimmage or not in Minnesota. That is still not known yet. I saw some footage of him the other day, and he's jump throwing passes in Minnesota. So it's not great when your quarterback's 5'7" and 5'9" with heels on. That's never good. But that's an interesting game in Minnesota. It reminds me of a time that this would have been, 2018, I believe. Would that have been Allen's rookie year?
Yes. Yep.
When Minnesota was a 17-point favorite at home I believe, week 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I had him in Survivor. I'm like, oh, please. And there was that play when Josh Allen hurdled the middle linebacker.
Anthony Barr. Yep.
We're in trouble. Yeah,
Yep.
They won the game outright as a 17-point dog.
It's funny to look back at that game now, seeing what Allen has become, because the clues were there. Not only did he jump over, the first time he hurdled a guy in an NFL game, at least that I remember, and it's his rookie year and it's week 3, so I'm pretty sure I'm safe there. So he does that, but he also had a Superman dive at the pylon for a touchdown in that game. And maybe that was the first time we saw that out of him. And that's, I don't know, it's not quite a signature move for him, but we've seen him do it numerous times now. And we didn't know at that time what we really had. Like the next week, I think they go to Green Bay, and he was horrendous.
Yeah, they got shut out maybe.
Yeah.
This game in Minnesota, the Vikings had some crazy long streak of not getting shut out, and they scored really late.
Right.
To avoid it. But, yeah, that's a memorable one for Bills fans to sort of see Allen pop for the first time.
Sam, thinking about the schedule has me thinking about the hierarchy in the AFC overall. Like, how much did last year shake up the betting markets, if at all, with the Chiefs and the Ravens having the down years and not making the playoffs? The Bengals weren't there. Is everything sort of back to pre-Mahomes injury, pre-Jackson loss season? Like, is order restored, or are New England and Denver and the Chargers sort of cutting into that?
Well, from an odds standpoint, it's still the big 3, same as it ever was. It's Buffalo, Baltimore, and then a little bit lower than them is Kansas City. I mean, those were the same 3 favorites last year. Mm-hmm. Granted, the order might have been a little bit different. If I remember correctly, Baltimore was a slight favorite going into week 1, then Buffalo, then Kansas City. Now it's Buffalo, Baltimore, KC. I'd argue they're interchangeable, especially if Mahomes comes back and Andy Reid's able to retool that offense on the fly. But those are your 3 favorites, essentially: Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City. But the second tier, Bulldog, I think, is a lot tighter, because you have the Patriots at 8-1, the Chargers at 8-1, the Texans at 850. Now, personally, I'm not betting New England, Los Angeles, or Houston to win the AFC. I think I'd go a little bit lower and maybe look at a team like Cincy at 10-1 if Burrow can stay on the field. But I sort of know my gamble there. The odds makers are saying it's going to be one of the big 3. And they're really pushing out Jacksonville. That's what's telling to me, because Jacksonville is now, 9th on the board. Last year they were one of the trendier teams with Trevor Lawrence and this offense and all, and they had a really good regular season, and now it's like the books don't believe in it. So Jacksonville, to me, is the team that's been leapt the most by the Patriots, Chargers, Texans, Broncos, and Bengals. Jacksonville in the 9 hole, when they were in like the 5 hole last year in the AFC, but the rich are still rich at the top.
Yeah. I when the playoffs came around, Jacksonville, I thought, was the team to avoid. I mean, the Bills drew them in week 1 and they won down there. But, just to back up what you're saying, like I thought the Jaguars were maybe the best team in the conference when the playoffs got here last year.
I certainly think they could be this year.
Yeah. So, and they always have the benefit of playing. Well, I mean, the division is, Tennessee is still there. Indy's uneven. We'll see about Houston, I guess. So, yeah, I might like them too. You mentioned the list of things the Chiefs have to be careful about and need to go right, like Mahomes coming back. They also need to make sure Rashee Rice avoids infection while he's rehabilitating his knee injury in jail.
I saw that the other day because I follow the Underdog NFL alerts. I get them all to my phone. It's very important for me during the season. So when a guy's hurt, I know it before most people. And I got the notification, and it said Rashee Rice, parentheses, knee, comma, jail, end parentheses. And I'm like, where else? In what other league do you get that notification, right? It's like, it's got to be the NFL. It's going to be an interesting season in Kansas City, no doubt. But if they're afloat when Mahomes comes back, they always got a shot. I think you guys might be onto something, though, with Jacksonville, because that's the time to bet. When people are off them, when people don't believe in it, and you get a better price, that's not a bad idea. I'm not there personally, but 15-1 on Jacksonville is good. And I did text Mike, Bulldog. I didn't text you. It was late. I didn't know if you were sleeping or whatever, but I am going to that game in Minnesota.
Okay, good.
I am 100% going to Bills-Vikings.
Very cool. One more quickly. Sam Monson says a team that he thinks the market is bafflingly low on is Denver. A great roster. Did they not have a great season? Whether that extends to the Mahomes injury or some thought on the Chargers that I'm not aware of, but I know Sam, who I have a lot of respect for, thinks maybe Denver is soft from a betting standpoint too. I don't know what the number is. Do you?
I wouldn't say soft. I mean, I think I'd rather bet them. I like them in that 3-hole in the AFC West. I mean, you could find them at 225, 230 to win the division. That sort of speaks to me because I think, to your point, I think they have from 1 to 53. I think they have the best roster in that division. So I could get on board with betting them, to win the West. I don't know that I'm going to bet them 8-1 to win the conference or 16-1 to win the Super Bowl, but I disagree immensely that they're not the third. Like, I don't think they're the third best team in the West. The odds say they are. I disagree.
What's the order for you?
I'd go Denver, KC, LAC.
Okay. Best team in the West then.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything to be done with the basketball at this point? What do you think about Game 7?
I think the Thunder have been sort of a sleeping giant from a price standpoint. I get the Thunder at home -3.5 against a team that has a younger starting lineup than Michigan's college basketball team. These
Wow.
games are tough for the young. Yeah, think about that.
I know.
Spurs starting lineup, Michigan starting lineup. Spurs are younger. I'm going to take the defending champs tomorrow -3.5 at home.
Good stat. Sam, thanks for your time. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, you guys too. See ya.
Sam Panayotovich of Fox. Sal Capaccio coming up at 4. Get Sal's thoughts on some of these topics, other teams,
Yeah.
tennis, soccer, golf.
I'm on board with that, Mike. That's a good idea that we have football topics to talk with Sal about.
Were the Vegas Golden Knights
Yeah.
out of line,
Yeah, that's right.
requiring their players to not use words with the M in it?
Damn right we're going to talk some football with Sal. I'm going to chop it up. Talking ball with Sal. At the top of the hour here on the Mighty 550.
I'm getting uncomfortable.
Sorry, I'll stop.
We'll talk fantasy with Sal Capaccio coming up at 4. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. And how somebody accused them of not treating their players well enough or their employees well enough.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, and I was trying to sort of mess with the whole take and talk about how they were not allowed to eat bread and all of that, just trying to find a seat at that table, so to speak.
Can't wait to see why we started here.
And you're like, listen, can somebody tell me? Because I would like to know if there's more to this that I'm not aware of. You said that a few times, trying to cover yourself. Like,
Yeah.
what do I not know about this Vegas thing?
Right.
So why is it the least bit secretive for the Knicks not to reveal when a guy broke his finger? Is there any? Can somebody tell me? I feel, what bit am I doing? It's stand up and win. Can somebody tell me? Because I'd like to know. What is the practical reason why the Knicks don't want you to know when a player broke his finger? Like, what would happen? Did somebody on the team go up to him with a ball-peen hammer and just smash his finger?
What was it, a basketball-related activity or not?
Why does it matter?
They're trying to protect the player from being criticized for
What did he do?
Cleaning his barbecue and,
Slammed it in a
breaking
fridge?
his finger. I don't know. Having one of his kids slamming in a car door. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe.
But maybe there's some. They think it'll be worse for this guy if it comes out that he was trying to get a spider out of his eye in the middle of the night and he broke his finger. Which I don't. That seems unlikely. But that it was just some embarrassing pratfall. Because we're all, Scotty Scheffler last year. Oh, he hurt his he cut himself making pasta. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, or he fell down with a wine glass and the stem went through his hand. I go, well, whatever, but fine, I'll buy your pasta story, whatever. So like we live in a skeptical world. I could
curious
see,
world.
Okay, that's another word for it. Sure. I could see the Knicks wanting to protect him if indeed there's something untoward that happened.
We're only skeptical about these things because sports lies to us all the time.
Constantly, yes. Like
They
with
never tell the
regularity,
truth on
as
injuries.
as like a business plan, they lie to us.
They never tell the truth on injury, so what are you supposed to do with it?
Right.
You're supposed to be skeptical.
Sure.
They could tell us what happened, and I still wouldn't believe it. That's Scheffler.
That's right.
I still go ahead and have a special press conference just to disclose what happened to this guy's hand. Okay, I don't believe you. Next. I'm sick of you lying to me about injuries.
Right.
I mean, do you think Alex Tuck was really hurt? I'm not trying to get us into him again, but like I thought it was an interesting point to make a few times after the season ended with the Sabres that, remember, as non-forthcoming as they are as a rule anyway, especially in the playoffs, now when it's over, they have no obligation to tell you anything. And I could see a player looking at that either way.
Yeah, Tuck was always a tricky one to me. He's going into, what should be the payday of his lifetime. And, regardless of what he would have said about an injury, I think that still would have been the case. But nonetheless, on one hand, like I was saying all through the playoffs, and I even said it afterward, like I hope I hear that he's hurt, because I'm struggling with why you were such a ghost in the Montreal series. But the other side to that could be problematic to him is to say I had a back injury a month before you're about to hit the free agent market. Like
right.
you probably don't want to advertise that. So, lesser of two evils. Again, I don't know. I think there's a case to be made on either side that he would have either wanted to sort of validate his underperforming by explaining it away with an injury, and that might make teams go, okay, well that's fine because he'll be healed, and I'll give him $12 million. Or they could go, what's the injury? Is there a problem? Could it potentially linger? Is it going to reoccur? Whatever, and that could hurt him. So
that wins the day.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
You'd rather not create suspicion about your body than basically explain why you didn't do well.
And you're also, looking like you're making an excuse too. Yeah. And so those two things probably outweigh the make Radio's the Bulldog feel better about my performance against Montreal. I think the long range outlook is I was fine, and I'm not here to tell you like I had something bothering me. I just didn't play. That the goals didn't come.
Well, you know what I don't know is when he does sign with whomever, when is the physical? Like if he's got something. It's a pretty wide range of injuries. Like if he had a broken pinky, like this Knicks guy, and he goes to the press conference, he's probably pretty safe in disclosing that because that's going to get better.
Right.
And by the time next season starts, and somebody wants to invest in him, they're not worried about whether his finger is a chronic injury.
Right.
Like he's just, okay, that'll heal. A back injury is maybe about as scary as it could get.
Right.
And, what was Eric Lindros? Was it head, but back, maybe?
He had back problems too.
A back injury can ruin your career, can end it.
Yep.
And so, if he doesn't want to, I'm not trying to say that that's what happened, but if he doesn't want to, if it is, and he doesn't want to talk about it, eventually he's going to have to pass a physical, and then, if you really want to litigate this without knowing the truth, it would be if all right, it would be a reason to not sign him because it could scare you a little bit. Wow, didn't he have to be hurt? And then he talked and said he wasn't, and there are reasons why he wouldn't have, even if he was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh well, to strike against.
Yeah,
I'm admitting it. I'm going pretty hard at that, but it does seem like it could make sense. Turn into Larry King. Yesterday, it's why don't people eat fruit snacks?
Fruit snacks. Yeah,
and today's like, isn't Thai food great? Why does nobody talk about this? He's getting near Larry King phase.
He's a little young for that. Little with the dot. He needs the dots. They're the old Larry King USA Today column there. Yeah.
This is just my 2 cents.
Nobody talks about SpaghettiOs. What?
Norm Macdonald doing Larry King doing that. Howard Stern doing Larry King doing that. Just into my veins.
Right.
Drive in a parkway, park in a driveway. I mean, just that kind of stuff.
Who came up with that?
Here's a great number, 8. We love Andrew, but we gotta talk to him. Sal
I'll tell you
Capaccio.
what's underrated: shoelaces.
Yes, right.
Sorry, all right.
Sal next. Well, I don't know. This is the kind of thing. I think I've mellowed, but this is the kind of thing especially when it's like the Knicks, and I couldn't care less when it's far away. That just made me hate certain aspects of covering sports. Like, it doesn't even make sense. This is, Lossman and Vincent, Troy Vincent.
Right. Yeah. What really happened there?
Why wouldn't you just be honest? And not only were they not honest, they held it against you for claiming that they weren't being honest.
Right.
And
that people who saw what happened and even knew what was going on behind the scenes were willing to tell you, like, there were veterans on the team that thought the guy was acting like a gym class hero and embarrassing them in no-tackle drills, and so someone hammered him.
I've maybe never gotten over that.
That's pretty much what happened, and Tom Donahoe never stopped pushing back against that.
And his men made you feel terrible.
Yeah.
Made you feel, tried to shame you.
Right.
For wanting to find out what really happened. When you had Vincent himself admit it.
Right. Yeah.
Not explicitly, but it was just like there was no question that there was some intent to try to, and then it was an accident. I mean, does that count as an accident? It was a misdemeanor. It was a football misdemeanor.
Sure. Yeah, you wanted to send a message, you ended up hurting the guy, and like you did. I'm sure didn't want to hurt him, but you wanted to smack him.
I've never really gotten over that with them, and it's all different people now, and just like this Knicks thing. If I'd want to quit the beat. It's the finals, and I just want to like. You really can't say that. We don't. It's hockey. You don't know what the injury is. And you have to accept some level of, if it gets out, then our player and therefore our team are at disadvantages because, theoretically, if Thompson had a back thing, right? He said,
Yep.
But we thought maybe he had a wrist injury, and probably on the inside, there's a lot more shared knowledge than we have access to. But if it's possible that Montreal players found out that he had a wrist injury, they could take that out on him.
For sure.
And maybe that would have happened, which gives you some defense if you're the team for just not being forthcoming about the injury. I mean, not to do the whole thing over again, but Thompson said it's none of your business, and he's wrong. Unfortunately for him, sports doesn't exist without the fans. People bet on games. It is our business, whether he likes it or not. And if he had just said, nothing's wrong with me, that would have been, people would have accepted that, if not believed it.
Yeah, they still would have been maybe skeptical about it, but reacting the way he did only amped up the idea that something's hindering him.
Well, just put him, for me, we talked to Paul about it, and Paul goes into his whole thing about how, I don't mind, I don't care whether Paul minds, I just want it to be pointed out that it is people's business, and whatever he's doing or not doing to his risk factor as a player, I mean, he sounds naive to think that. Like, he's terribly naive to think that it isn't the business of the media and the fans. Hockey they get away with so much anyway because apparently you don't have to disclose injuries in the playoffs. You never have to even disclose specifically what an injury is. We go the whole year with upper body. So let's just sort of accept the compromise here, Tage, and just it's kind of okay for you if you don't have to ever say the thing, but you can't be annoyed if somebody asks you and claim that it's none of their business. Of course it is. Anyway, just because of the Knicks, the pinky finger got me into all this.
He did explain.
Sweating.
I think whatever. I don't need to say. He explained himself. Like I think afterward, he was upset. He played terribly. He really made. Boy, fool of himself is too strong, but it was like pratfalls in that game. It was
game 2.
It was really bad, yeah. So I understand him being hot in that moment anyway too, but whatever, it's irrelevant to the point. The point is
Game 5 of the NHL Eastern Conference Finals is tonight. Carolina does play host to Montreal. It's the Hurricanes, though, that can move on tonight with a win to face Vegas in the Cup final. Puck drop is at 8 o'clock, while for the NBA, Game 7 between the Spurs and Thunder, that is going to be tomorrow night at 8. But looking ahead to the NBA Finals, Knicks center Mitchell Robinson was announced yesterday to have broken his pinky. He has already had surgery, and the plan right now is for him to play in Game 1. But we got a little bit more insight on that today. Head coach Mike Brown confirming Robinson did not break his pinky in either Game 4 or in practice, but Knicks PR staff said the team would not go into specifics with the injury. Game 1, though, of the Finals is the middle of next week on Wednesday. In baseball, Bisons are home tonight against Lehigh Valley. First pitch at 6:05. You can listen to that game over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. Then over in the majors, Jays at Baltimore at 7:05. Mets host the Marlins at 7:10. Then at 9:40, Yankees. They're out west to take on the Athletics. And catch every take, every reaction, and every big Buffalo sports moment live now on YouTube with Jeremy and Joe in the morning and Schopp and the Bulldog in the afternoon. Watch your favorite WGR hosts anytime, anywhere, live on air, live on YouTube. It's brought to you by Belknap Heating and Cooling. For more comfort and less ka-ching, give Belknap a ring. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's so interesting to me, and I think to lots of fans, Bills and Sabres fans, how ironically, I would say, in a year where you've had, a new head coach and a new stadium, while still being, again, a Super Bowl favorite, we're late to it. Like, we're kind of, I don't know, not everybody's on the same timeline here, but needing a little time to sort of settle in on the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, it will bring Sal in. Sal, we started talking about the schedule today, and I realized I've not really looked at it. You know what I mean? Like I looked at it, I noticed, they play 4 out of 5 on the road twice. There's a bye in the middle of the first time they do that. And then just sort of, the hockey game's on. You know what I mean? Like I just never really sat with it. And we were just talking about it earlier, and I noticed the second New England game's a little too early for my taste. If they're going to be battling it out for the division, I would have liked them to switch that game with the Miami game, which is week 17. Just one example. But like the Sabres season in the postseason really swallowed us whole to the extent that I feel like the schedule is still pretty new to me, which I recognize it's not to many people, but to me it is kind of.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I think every time I look at it, there seems to be something that comes up that I might not have realized before, right? It's just like, oh, yeah. I mean, just little things that I have to remind myself that, like, Minnesota's a Monday Night Football game, right? Like, kind of weird to think about that. I didn't think that would be one of the games like that. As much as the Bills, have a very tough schedule, I think we've pointed out before, Warren Sharp did the data. They actually have a lot of rest. One of those is that New England game. You got Kansas City on Thanksgiving, and then you get 10 days to get ready for the Patriots. I think December 6th is pretty good for me, Bulldog. I mean, I think by then, you could get into week 17 and maybe it's just not as important because everything's kind of been spoken for. But sure enough, it could mean a lot. I actually think that Denver game could mean a lot, to seeding, whether that's at the top of the conference or fighting for a wild card, right? But the other thing I'm thinking about now is, too, this West Coast trip that they're going to take in October, like what that is going to look like. I think the team is going to stay out west, and like how all that's going to be kind of really interesting to navigate this year.
Probably should. That's a short week already because the Rams game is on a Monday night, and then Vegas is on a Sunday. And then the bye, so they can stay out west another week if they want, just because there's no game. If they want to just really make it West Coast. Yeah, you could. That's right. Kansas City at Buffalo or versus Buffalo every year is, to say the least, I mean, one of the marquee games on the schedule. And I think it's still that. And we heard a story about how maybe networks were fighting for it a little bit this year. You may know more about that. I just wonder if it will have the same cachet this year with how the Chiefs were, what they were last year. And, I mean, the Bills were pretty much the Bills, but still only a wild card team. We'll see if by week, 12, both the Bills and the Chiefs, and you want it to be both for this, have sort of gotten back to their thrones, if you will.
I am really interested in what the Chiefs could be. I'm even right now, because like even today I was actually reading some stuff about their OTAs. And apparently, like, Xavier Worthy had a surgery this offseason. He's in a red non-contact, but he's out there. And Mahomes is doing all the 7-on-7 stuff. He's just not doing 11-on-11. But he was out there today, and I'm reading about how he looks like Patrick Mahomes, and he's doing lateral movement, and they're keeping him out of 11-on-11, but they're letting him do everything 7-on-7 right now, at least as far as what the media has been able to observe. And, I think that tracks for him to probably be ready opening week. And it feels like they're getting ready for that. But how effective will he be, or how impactful would the injury be at that time? I'm really interested in the Chiefs. And when we talked with Mike North on the pod back, last month, Matt Bove asked him specifically, like, do you guys think about that? Like the injury with the Chiefs and what you want to do with the Chiefs. And he kind of, I would say, actually leaned a little bit more into that than I thought he would. Like, I thought the answer would be like, no, we can't worry about that, right? That we don't think about the competitive advantage or disadvantage of an injury. But he kind of outright said, we're not putting the Chiefs and Bills early in the season like that because of it, right? And lo and behold, you have Chiefs and Bills on Thanksgiving. And then you look at the Chiefs' early schedule, guys. Now, they do have Denver, early in the season, the first week. Then it's Indy, Miami, Vegas, and a bye week. I mean, honestly, like, the first 5 weeks, there's only one team, and that's the opening week against the Denver Broncos that really looks super, like, daunting for them. If they wanted to get out of, okay, let's just not worry about – let's make sure Mahomes is available.
Let them ease into their season.
It kind of looks like they did that, right?
Yeah.
Well, that might be correct. However, their stretch from Thanksgiving is this: at Buffalo, at the Rams Thursday night the next week, at Cincinnati. That's been a thing. So 3 road games in a row. Home to New England on a Monday night. Home to the San Francisco 49ers. At the Chargers. And then Vegas to close it. So whatever that was,
that's pretty tasty. Yeah.
And they have Seattle in the middle. Whatever that is early, they have to pay for it later. I mean,
that's right. That's the price you pay, right? For if the league did think about that, where it just, you look at it and you say, how did they not think about it? Then that's the price you pay, as you say.
They do get the 2 primetime games to start, though, and I think we all thought that would not happen because of Mahomes' knee.
Yep, right.
That's right. Yep.
I would have to cop to that. We just talked to Sam Panayotovich last hour, Sal, and I asked him about what are the betting markets saying about the hierarchy in the AFC, right? I mean, you've got, Baltimore and KC both missed. The Bengals missed. And those 3, the Bills and the Ravens and the Chiefs, are still the top 3. And the questions about all 3, like there's more uncertainty, I think, about all 3 teams than there's been ever since all the quarterbacks got there, I guess. You've got new coaches in both Baltimore and Buffalo, new head coaches. And Kansas City obviously is dealing with Mahomes coming back from the injury, and they've got their usual other stuff with Rashee Rice, making sure he avoids infection while rehabbing in jail, etc. But despite the instability that might be represented with new head coaches in 2 of those 3 teams, they're right there at the top of the betting market.
Yes, they are. I mean, they are them. From what I've read, and I'm looking at one right now that has a bunch of the different, aggregate kind of numbers, the Ravens and Bills are pretty much tied for the betting favorite in the AFC. And the only teams ahead of them are NFC teams for a Super Bowl championship, and that would be the Rams and the Seahawks. It's Rams and Seahawks, and then it's Bills-Ravens. And it's basically the 2 and then the other 2, however you want to slice it, maybe Bills and Ravens. And I've seen the Bills being more favored than the Ravens, but here's 2 teams that, last year, the Bills go out against Denver in the second round. They don't win their division, and the Ravens don't even make the playoffs last year, and yet these 2 teams are still at the top. Now, I would think this has a lot to do with Mahomes and his injury right now. If you have a fully healthy Patrick Mahomes, you're probably getting them in that mix, if not maybe at the top of it. I'm not really sure. But yeah, it's the Bills and the Ravens. And then you got, by the way, if you want to go Super Bowl odds, right? I mean, this is, again, what I'm looking at, and I don't know what Sammy P said. I wasn't listening to him, but Seattle and the Rams are right there. You have the Bills and the Ravens, and then the next best AFC team is not until the Chiefs, after 3 more NFC teams, by the way. Packers, Eagles, Lions.
It's really, you start with how good do we think the team is, but then it's, all right, how competitive is the division? And it's interesting, the team that's interesting to me about those odds as you lay them out is New England. I don't think there's anybody else that's really being slighted here. The Chiefs have AFC West competition that's pretty serious at the top. NFC North is like that. It's New England is the one that, what did we just do? But I also believe, I think confidently, that there is a sense, a consensus that they'll take a step back because of what that schedule was. And they lived kind of a charmed existence last year. How do you see the Patriots? Could that go too far in that direction where maybe we all just we've watched the AFC champion or the Super Bowl, really? They won the AFC championship against Jarrett Stidham. But still, could we maybe be overreacting to how easy a ride they got and maybe be selling them a little short?
I think so. I don't think it's wrong to say that they had, a lesser schedule and kind of the part of their path was definitely a little bit easier to navigate. But man, the quarterback is really good, and he's only going into his third year, and he didn't have a ton. Yes, and Stephon Diggs was very good for them last year, but they're going to get A.J. Brown here probably next week, right? We think that that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. They get Romeo Doubs. They're going to have more weapons for him to throw to. I still think there's some question about the offensive line for sure. They should be able to play some defense, but there's some questions up front, getting to the passer, things like that. And every team is going to have these, but I think they're still going to be a formidable opponent. But they do have a tougher schedule like the Bills. It's just so weird that the year that the Bills match up with the second place team in all these divisions happens to be what? The Ravens, and the Patriots get the Steelers, right? As the first thing. The Bills get the Texans, right? And they get Jacksonville. So it's just kind of weird how that all played out. I do think you could go a little too far. I think the Bills should still be the favorite. They still have Josh Allen, and I think that the Patriots still last year, what they did do has to be considered of how and why. The team I think in the AFC that most maybe more slept on right now is Denver. Denver's behind New England. They're in the middle of the pack, and I'm like, that's a good roster with a good coach. I do agree, though, if anybody says, well, what about the quarterback? And, there's some questions there and the injury. I understand all that. It's a good Denver team, though.
Recognizing that one is on the East Coast and one is not, we've talked about how the Jets have at least 14 1 o'clock games, maybe one more with the Bills in Week 18. They have, unless they get their games flexed into prime time, 14 1 o'clock games. Denver has two
1 o'clock games.
Yep. Don't look for Denver too often at 1 o'clock. At Carolina in Week 9, at the Jets, go figure, in Week 13. Every other one of their games is not a 1 o'clock start, Denver. Again, their home games don't start at 1.
Right.
For a while, they would start them at 2. That's, I guess, their local time. But there used to be 2 o'clock Eastern games in the NFL, like in the 70s.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
They're playing a 3 o'clock game on Black Friday.
Okay.
At Pittsburgh.
Well, it's coming back. That's right. Different afternoon start times. I saw a tweet from Mike Dempsey, a radio host in Jacksonville who's a friend of ours, and he does like a question of the day sort of thing often down there. And it was asking his listeners, what's the identity of the Jags offense? That's not my favorite word. I think maybe we sort of can almost come up with anything for identity. But I wondered this about the Bills for a minute. Because of 2 years of James Cook stats and all the griping about wide receiver, now you have DJ Moore, Sal. And, for whatever it's worth, Joe Brady moving up a rank but still calling plays. How would you
There's no predict? More. There's no. If you were worried he had someone to please, that's over now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, that's a better question even than this. Whether that's true.
I like how you said that, Bulldog, and because I think it's a part of this, right? So you're right. Maybe not identity. I'll say this. I think if you really pay attention to, and this often happens, I say this a lot, you can get more than you think from a lot of these guys when they talk. You just have to listen to what they're saying, and they'll tell you a lot. They'll give you clues. And I think if you go back to when Joe Brady was hired, to all the different interviews he's done with, whether it's Tyler Dunn doing a piece on him, or the Buffalo News, or at a press conference, WGR, it doesn't matter. If you just listen to the combine and all those things, you add it up. One thing that I've kind of gotten from all of it is he's basically told us in some way, shape, or form, I'm not gonna have a different offense necessarily. Right? We're gonna call the same plays. The plays are gonna be there, but sure. you had a defensive-minded head coach that made sure that we knew, and I knew as an offensive coordinator, who the other team was, who the quarterback was in the other team. Make sure you don't give them extra opportunities. Let's make sure we don't lose the game before we win it. And I think that part is going away. I don't think Joe Brady's going to care that Patrick Mahomes, a healthy Patrick Mahomes, is on the other side. I don't think Joe Brady's going to care that Lamar Jackson's on the other side because he has Josh Allen. And he's going to say, we're going to play the way we need to play, and I'm going to let Jim Leonard take care of the rest. And this isn't going to be about let's play, okay, let's use the word complementary, right? Okay, let's play some complementary football and let's just not lose the game. And again, I'll be the first to tell you, Sean McDermott is much more on the aggressive side than conservative side than many coaches in this league when it comes to some of the analytics and things like that. But he certainly had a philosophy of this very thing because he has said it. He has literally said it on the air where he said, before you win a game, you can't lose it. I don't think Joe Brady's going to have that philosophy necessarily.
Well, that is really interesting to like sort of have that as like a 10,000-foot view of like a summation of like the off season from Brady, because there's plenty of reason to wonder. I generally backed McDermott and pushed back at like the idea that he was holding them back in some way, but it's certainly possible that he was, and that maybe we'll have more of a Josh Allen centric as opposed to James Cook centric. I mean, I think, if Joe Brady were listening to this conversation or participating in this conversation, I think he'd want to push back on, like, let's not forget we had the leading rusher in the league. Like right, of course. But you also have a freak show at quarterback, so you maybe, lean into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't think a wide screen pass to a wide receiver is going away.
Right.
What I think might be going away is doing it on 3rd and 6. Yeah, there's going to be a time we're going to see that, but when it's 3rd and 6, I'm throwing the ball to DJ Moore. I'm throwing the ball to Dalton Kincaid. Like, I got to get the ball past the sticks. Like, that's the point of what we do here in football, and so be it. If we don't get there, we're going to punt the ball away. Like, I'm not just going to say, okay, let's get to 4th and 2, and maybe we can run Josh Allen. There might be times for that. I just don't think you're going to see it like we did last year necessarily, and part of that is what you brought up, Mike. You have DJ Moore now. Another thing that I think that I've really learned over the last few weeks, DJ Moore is really freaking good. Like, people around the building, around the Bills, players are really like surprised how good he is, maybe because they never really noticed from afar. Like, one thing that's kind of happened here, talking to guys, listening to guys, Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir, and I know they always say great things about their teammates. I get it. But, when you've been around this business long enough, when guys are saying things that you can kind of take a little bit more for, okay, I'm gonna really take this in what he's saying because he kind of means this, not just a platitude. I think they're even surprised in their own building maybe about how good DJ Moore can be.
This is something I was actually prepared to ask you about him next before you brought his name up. This is something that we're going to talk about 50 times before the season, I think, because I am not sold. I'm not his teammate, but I feel like he's just okay. I've said before, I have a, Bulldog, you were talking yesterday about someone else, like where you have your own biases, Murray, I guess it was. Yep. And it's sometimes hard to overcome that. I feel like DJ Moore, and maybe this is just from fantasy analysts in my brain, is always getting the benefit of the doubt for just not having a good quarterback. And like he's really way better than you think because he's had to play with, lousy quarterbacks in his career. Last year, that was not true. The Bears were good. His numbers came way back, but they had other options that were working out fine for them. So I don't know that I want to blame him for that. He had 50 catches, which was easily his career low last year. But at his age...
Don't you think that can be true, though, Mike?
It can be true. It can be true. He's going into his 9th year. He really should have a career year, right?
I mean, he's going to his 9th year, but in the 8 years he's played, 4 of them he's come close to or broken 1,200 yards.
That's right.
That's pretty darn good, right?
That's some pretty serious production. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's good. I don't think he's great. And I wonder if he's not great. And this is not just sort of like, unfortunately, I think for players sometimes this is numbers driven. And that's going to be a function of like everybody eats or whatever, who else is thriving in their offense. Like last year's Bears offense was pretty good, right? And he had 50 catches. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying it's not always just like the player's performance. It's the stats.
Feels like him and the head coach didn't have they weren't on the same page. I don't know why. It just feels like that was the case, and maybe part of the reason why they traded him too. By the way,
Maybe he talked him up real good at the meetings, though, right?
Oh yeah,
Ben Johnson, like after he was gone.
Oh yeah.
So you want 100 for 1,010. You want a year like that for this investment, I think. And I don't know. I'm not sure I would bet on it, but I don't have it's too early to anyway. In my own defense, like fundamental reasons for that. It just he's a player for me that I feel like I'm always wanting more.
Now, I would say, though, that the thing that could happen here is this very thing that happened in Chicago, as you say, which is like the Bills still have other guys they want to throw the ball to and they believe in. Khalil Shakir and Dalton Kincaid. And if you want a running back out of the backfield or run the ball with James Cook, he is not going to be this, oh, my God, really wide receiver centric. We got to get him the ball. He's going to have, what do you have? He had 140 targets 2 years ago, right? It's a lot of targets. 163 targets in 2021. I don't think you'll get those numbers, but I think that could be what could hold the numbers back.
Right.
I just think from a football player standpoint, from an athletic standpoint, from a wide receiver standpoint, that's where I'm coming from when I say, I think there's a belief that, oh, my God, this guy's, really good.
He does have 4 career touchdown receptions from Kyle Allen, if it comes to that. Maybe there's a chemistry.
Good to know. Good to know that.
Yeah. I mean, the best DJ Moore year for me is what he did with Fields, which is 3 seasons ago with the Bears. He had a big stat year, over 1,300 yards with Justin Fields. And Fields might not have started all those games, but still, that they have to respect
that kind of production on a team with Justin Fields as the best quarterback on it is pretty impressive.
You got to respect that.
That's a lot of production. Because whoever was playing, if Fields probably wasn't better than Fields, and Fields is not that good.
Sal, are you taking, to a point you made earlier, because I don't know if I want to be right now, are you taking A.J. Brown to the Patriots as a given?
Yeah, I'm pretty much there. Although I do see things popping up every once in a while that, well, you never know here. I don't know. It feels like it's just kind of a fait accompli. It's going to happen here at some point. It is Howie Roseman, though. You never know, right? And what could happen here with the Eagles. If it doesn't happen, it's more from their side that they felt that they got something better or something changed. And Nick Sirianni's like, no, we're not doing this, and convinces them. But, yes, I believe that by training camp, A.J. Brown will be a New England Patriot.
Yeah, the whole thing this week and even last week, it's really ever since we got through the draft and into this part of the offseason has been, well, they don't want to pay a 1. They think they're the only horse the only horse to ride here is New England. And so we're going to balk at that price now and see what happens. And I don't know, I wonder if some other team comes off the top rope. With a first-round pick. Or even if Philadelphia feels, you mentioned Roseman, I don't know that this is his MO or anything, but if he feels like New England is leaving him at the altar, I could see him taking the same compensation from some other team just to spite New England at this point.
Yeah, you never know, right? It feels like if he feels like, okay, they've pretty much made it known and that they're going to get this guy or whatever, I'll show them. It could happen. There's no doubt about it. And I do think that, he will look, I think he's a really talented player, but I think, Drake May getting a couple weapons like that, I don't think it'll change the betting market, right, Mike? Usually a player like this doesn't really move the needle like that. I don't think it changes the betting market, but I think that becomes a much different offense than what we saw last year for sure.
Some of that is probably already baked into the betting market because people are assuming it's going to happen.
Yep.
One question for Bulldog while we have Sal.
Okay.
Should we give him the trivia question? Sal loves trivia.
I do. I have not been listening today, so go right ahead.
I haven't mentioned
this
it.
This hasn't come up
Bulldog
on the air.
Is very upset.
It's come up off the air. I hated this question.
I asked Bulldog, Brad Ryder, and Tim Graham. 2 of the 3 were really upset about the question.
And Tim just doesn't know you well enough to get really mad at you.
And he just walked out.
Yeah, right.
He didn't say
question.
anything. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, not the answer. Okay.
Right.
It's almost too late now for as much, unless you know it right away. Ready?
Okay. Yep.
Who is the only team to have drafted 2 Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterbacks in the same draft?
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Who are you thinking? Bradshaw?
Terry Bradshaw, and I just was thinking there could be a guy there that we had no idea that went on to do something because Bradshaw was their guy.
Incorrect.
It's a legit. You had a guess at least.
You had a guess.
Yeah.
The The players.
You guessed a football team, which is interesting.
The players involved. The players involved are both big first ballot guys that were quarterbacks. There's no trick. These were not drafted as quarterbacks, but played linebacker or something like that. Mm-hmm. And you've seen both play in person probably more than once.
Is there a guy could it be Doug Flutie?
My mind went to Doug Flutie.
He didn't go to the Hall of Fame. He didn't go to the Hall of Fame. Warren Moon did, though. I'm thinking of a guy who went to the CFL maybe and played, or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good way to try to put the puzzle together. Again, focusing on actual football teams.
Well,
yeah. So it wasn't. They didn't become a Pro Football Hall of Famer as a football player.
The only team to have drafted two Hall of Fame quarterbacks
you're gonna hang up on
in the same draft
you hang up on us.
Is the Kansas City Royals.
Don't you want to swing on him? you kind of want to hit him, don't you?
Wait a minute. It's a fun one. Elway and Marino in the same draft, 1979, were both drafted by the Royals.
Have a good weekend, Mike.
See you, Sal.
All right, Sal Capaccio on the West Her Hotline. His appearances are brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
I don't understand this. I love a good trivia question. Is that not one? You guys are all mad at me for asking?
It's a magic trick. It's a trick. You're, of course, going to be focused on football teams and never think of the Kansas City Royals.
As was I.
So it's
I didn't get it.
I know, but you didn't get mad. I don't know. It made me mad. It made Brad mad. I'm pretty sure it made Tim mad, and Sal just hung up on us.
First time
ever.
And
Sal is the nicest guy ever.
No, I didn't get mad. I got something else, and I don't really want to say the word on the air.
Mm-hmm.
With a question like this, there's a certain
electricity.
Electricity.
Stop talking.
It goes through the veins.
Oh boy.
1979, the Royals drafted Dan Marino in the 4th round and John Elway in the 18th round. Neither signed. I don't know. You don't have to love it, but I don't know why you'd hate it. Anyway. Timeout for sports. We need it. We need this break right now to relieve the tension. 803-0550 for your calls. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Hockey playoffs tonight. Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Carolina playing host to Montreal. It's the Hurricanes, though, that can move on to face Vegas with a win tonight. Puck drop at 8 o'clock. While for the NBA, Game 7 between the Spurs and Thunder is going to be tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And then looking ahead to the NBA Finals, Knicks center Mitchell Robinson announced yesterday to have broken his pinky. He has already had surgery, and the plan is for him to play for Game 1. But we got a little bit more information today. Head coach Mike Brown confirming Robinson did not break his pinky in either Game 4 or practice, but Knicks PR staff said the team would not get into specifics with the injury. Game 1 of the Finals, though, is in the middle of next week on Wednesday. And then for baseball, Bison's home tonight against Lehigh Valley. First pitch at 6:05. That game can be heard on our sister station, The Bet 1520. Then over in the majors, Jays at Baltimore at 7:05. Mets host the Marlins at 7:10. And at 7:40, the Yankees, they're out west to take on the Athletics. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
We're aware of the situation. The league's aware of it. We've talked to the league. We get it. As far as any further ado to that, there's been no talk about anything further. We're moving forward just normal as we go here. When he gets back, we got to get him caught up and doing what he needs to do. But, to make sure he gets it. Not an easy thing he's going through. So life lessons are important, but we're all given chances to learn.
Andy Reid. Rashee Rice is serving 30 days in jail for breaking terms of his parole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a drug infraction?
He failed a marijuana test, which I think he was only subject to because of his parole.
If we were they, would we want him off the team? I don't think I could say it.
I mean, I might want him off. I might want him off the team because of the drag racing thing that preceded this, that led to him being on probation in the first place. I mean, there's something to be said for. I mean, sure, listen to Reed. Everybody's got to learn lessons, learn from it, et cetera, et cetera. Like you're on probation. Like the rules, I think, are pretty straightforward. Like believe me, I'm not the guy that's going to like be mad at the guys on my football team because they use pot. Like you're better off doing that. I've been saying this for 20 years than using the painkillers that the teams dole out like candy. So, okay, I think society in general, I mean, it's legalized so many places. It's softened considerably. But if you're already in a pickle, like have the intelligence to avoid making a mistake that's going to end you in further trouble. I mean, that's just horrific judgment is more than anything else. And, I might wonder, am I going to win with somebody who's that stupid or undisciplined if stupid's too strong? That would maybe be the platform I would stand on about it, more so than, he used pot, I don't want him on my team. I just think that's antiquated.
No, it would be the collection of bad decisions.
Yeah.
I think. I wanted to say, when you said that last point, that they have won with him, but they haven't, I guess. The Super Bowl, they lost to Philadelphia. He might have been on that team. He's been 3 years in the league, Rice. He's good, but he doesn't seem to be that swift.
No, that seems apparent. Yeah.
It makes me just wonder if the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. You have Kelsey, again, and that should be some decent floor, if not also a high ceiling, because just, what those plays look like. Even last year. I mean, he still caught how many? He had a pile of catches last year, and they won 6 games. What's the number? 76. 76 for 851 and 5. You probably should take that from your tight end every year, no matter who you are or who your tight end is.
Right.
Would the Raiders take this from Bowers? Probably not.
You're used to it being more, but yeah, right.
You probably should take 76 for 851 and 5 from your tight end, and that's Kelsey at 36 last year. So there's that. Then
I'm curious to see what they do with Kenneth Walker.
Right.
Like that's a piece that they have been, the Bills severely trail them in Super Bowl championships. I'm well aware. I think the Chiefs have kind of been behind the Bills on the adapting to what the league has been doing to pass offenses and just how, much you can gain from having a run game that at least is supportive, if not even driving your offense. I think the Bills got to that spot a couple of years ago, and I think it has benefited them. I can't know, as I say that, whether or not their lack of proficiency at receiver or just leaning on the pass game, it could have been different. Maybe they win. Maybe they win by more. Maybe they're better if they're not relying on it. But it's served them well. They've won plenty of games. They've had excellent seasons. The Chiefs have had nothing. Pacheco got hurt, and their running game disappeared. It fell off a cliff. And it was Kareem Hunt, and then a rehabbed Pacheco, and nothing happening. Now they go get the Super Bowl MVP and plop him on that team. I'm really curious. And you've got Mahomes coming off an injury on top of that. Like, is this a team that suddenly shows up and runs the ball 55% of the time? For like the first time in 20 years?
Well,
I'm exaggerating.
You've had the league shift in that direction, and you have the Bills as some model of it.
Right.
Where they've had the elite quarterback, but they've been willing to, even interested and eager to
defer to the run game.
Cook in the running game going. So could the Chiefs dabble with 2 or 3 tight ends? I don't really know. I mean, I guess so.
It's funny. They've done that. They've done that against the Bills. The Chiefs,
Noah Gray.
Everything I read about the advent of 2 and 3 tight end formations and how much more prevalent they've become, the Chiefs are a talking point within that conversation because it's a little surprising to learn that they used it, whatever it was, some high percentage within the league. It's not a majority of their formations, but they were, and this even goes back. Over the time that they've been non-existent running the ball, they used 3 tight ends a lot, which is kind of weird.
Mahomes said because of his rehab on his knee that what that's causing him to do or allowing him to do in practice is progressions as opposed to, I mean, maybe it's just something you say, but just kind of improvising like he does. But now he can't really do that, so he's forced to 1, 2, 3, make his reads and play it like that. I don't know what to do with them. We talked about New England with Sal as a team that might be getting too little credit for what it is, might be. And I wonder if the Chiefs might be getting too much. Where you do have Mahomes off the injury, for whatever that's worth. We are talking about a running back in the end.
Right.
With Walker, and I don't know. Hunt did rush for 8 touchdowns last year. He was terribly inefficient, but at least they got some production out of him. It's got to be an upgrade to Walker. Then you have Rice, who's a head case, and that's a nice word, maybe. You have Worthy off an injury, a shoulder thing, and he hasn't been very good anyway. And then what? I feel like maybe...
Jalen Royal. Right? Isn't that he's one of the draft picks from last year, and I read something this week about how Reed was talking him up.
Oh, okay. Royals, yeah.
Royals, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Iowa Kansas City
Iowa
Royals.
State guy. Yeah. Oh, still, let's go back to
Drafted
that.
2 quarterbacks in the 1979 draft. Sal is going to totally take that question on the road.
No, he's not.
If he actually is indignant,
if he does,
I don't know him at all.
It's going to be let me tell you this awful trivia question I was asked. That'll be the lead. That'll be it. Next year at the Combine in Indianapolis, he's going to be telling Ian Rappaport all about it.
There is an art to a great trivia question. A lot of trivia questions are just like, you know it or you don't. Back in the days when we would, ask and listen to trivia questions, sometimes it would be like, who did this? And you either know it or you would have no way of knowing it. That's not a good trivia question. This at least does start the ball rolling in the right direction, which it makes you think about it. Like, all right, well, And Sal did that, and I did that, and you did that, and we all didn't get it.
I barely did it. I said Washington drafted 2 guys that, one is still active. The other one's career ended. So I didn't really dig in on it. Sal at least tried, Pittsburgh. Maybe they drafted someone when they drafted Bradshaw that went and played for some other team that made the Hall of Fame.
He took a guess.
Yeah, he took a guess. Yeah, and was, focused on, I think most of society would be when posed this question on actual football teams, which is that's it. That's the problem. So you can't say which baseball team picked because that just doesn't make sense as a question.
Then it's the first thing,
so then
which is either you know it or you don't.
So the whole thing just feels like a trick. It doesn't feel like a trivia question. It feels like a trick.
But I think a good trivia question can have a trick to it. Oh, just like the New York Times crossword puzzle.
You didn't say football team. You said
that's
team.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. See, and that's where I wanted to punch you.
Once every week or two in the crosswords, the puzzle will have a rebus instead of the word perfectly fitting or the answer perfectly fitting. There's a trick to it. Oh, it's this. And those to me are the cleverest. Those to me are the most fun. Maybe I thought of it. Maybe I didn't. I never would have known it was the Royals. But eventually I would have figured out this must not be an NFL team because, none of us can remember that happening.
Right. Well, so then this is where I don't think either it's a great trivia question in and of itself because who you're going to end up at, if you get to that, it must not be a football team.
Then you lost?
Then where are you? You're at, I'm going to start. I just think it's.
No, that's right. That part is true.
It's preposterously hard.
You would maybe have to know something. You'd have to know something about quarterbacks that played baseball.
Right.
That were good enough to be drafted.
And Elway is famous because, he went and played in Oneonta. He played in the Yankee chain when Baltimore drafted him. I did not know until this is maybe the only thing that I'm going to find redeeming about this entire episode from, a half hour before our show and even now 2 hours into it almost. I did not know Dan Marino was a baseball star. Good enough. He was drafted much earlier than Elway, right? You said
yes, 14 rounds earlier.
Okay. And I did not know that about Marino. I don't, there was never any question about what he was going to do when he came out of college. He went right to the Dolphins, and that was it.
I think they both would have been in high school.
Oh, right, of course, because it's 4 years before their draft year, right? So, yeah, I just didn't know. It makes sense. A lot of guys played many sports when they were, high school and then chose.
If the quarterback of your high school team was good enough to be Dan Marino or John Elway, they almost definitely played baseball too.
Right.
At least in those days. Maybe now they'd be at some prep thing.
Right. At the
just
IMG
throwing balls
Academy.
every day.
Right, yeah,
not playing anything else.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think in those days they almost definitely would have. Maybe basketball too. I don't know. They would have been great at everything. Okay. Well, thanks for indulging me on this anyway. I hope Sal's okay. I don't want to be enemies with Brad or Sal or you or Tim going into a weekend especially.
Or everybody out there listening to all this.
This question was texted to me 10 minutes before I asked you. So it wasn't like I was setting anybody up. It just came to me.
Yep.
A friend texted me and all right, well, let me see who.
Well, then,
if anybody knows
then
this.
this is the person.
It's Tim Graham.
This is the person I have the problem with. Then
it's Tim Graham. You would think he would know the answers to most questions, right?
Yes.
We stumped even him.
Stumped.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Lines are open for your calls. We've been talking a lot about Alex Tuck this week. If you have a strong feeling about what the Sabres should do there, let us know. Lines open, and we'll look for your calls again next. This is WGR. Bison's at home again. Great night for it. Maybe a little cool, but beautiful.
Throw on a light jacket. Have at it.
One of my favorite things over the years to do with baseball, if I have a night and there's nothing else in my way, if I have access to all the games at least, is to go find the best pitcher or pitching matchup. And I'm not sure he would be the best, so it's not exactly this, but I'm excited for Jared Jones to come back for Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Who's been out, all of last year. He was hot in 24, all of last year, and now this is his debut for this year. And he's pitching tonight against Minnesota. That's an Apple game, if you have that.
All right,
Those look pretty good.
Oh, the picture on the Apple Sports is, I could get lost in it.
640.
It's so good. It's so good.
640 for Jared Jones on the Pirates against Minnesota.
All right, good to know there's another. Hopefully that, he sort of takes off. That gives me a better chance at seeing someone pretty hot when I go to Pittsburgh for 2 games in August.
Yes.
Because Skeens has sort of a guy riding shotgun with him, then I'd like my chances of seeing one of them at least.
Today is Skeen's birthday.
Happy birthday.
24. Good age.
I suppose, yeah.
Would you call Pirates fans long-suffering?
Yeah.
I would.
I think so, yeah.
They've got to be pretty high on the list of sports teams
we're
for that.
It's the We Are Family team is
their last champion?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, 79. Wow.
I wonder what happened in that draft that year.
The 79 baseball draft?
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if any future Hall of Fame NFL quarterbacks were taken by any baseball teams.
Even more than one by one team.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, more information to just try to reconcile having that knowledge. Long suffering. I saw this term used for Knicks fans today. And I guess,
yeah,
I'd like to define it a little bit.
Okay.
Long suffering. What about us?
We definitely have been long suffering. We've been suffering a long time.
Bills too?
Without championships, yeah.
Well, that's why we need to define it, I think.
Yeah, I guess that's right. I see what you're doing.
Is it just championships?
Yeah.
I mean, the Pirates are almost always the worst.
Yeah.
For how long?
Yeah, there's levels of
30 years.
Yeah, the Pirates fans have had a worse time than we've had.
Do you feel like you're a long-suffering fan? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Game 5 of the NHL Eastern Conference Finals is tonight. Carolina plays host to Montreal, and it's the Hurricanes that can move on to face Vegas in the Cup final if they can find a way to win tonight. Puck drop is at 8, while for the NBA, Game 7 between the Spurs and Thunder is going to be tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Looking ahead, though, to the NBA Finals, Knicks center Mitchell Robinson was announced yesterday to have broken his pinky, and he has already had surgery on it and does plan to play in Game 1, but we did get some more information today. Head coach Mike Brown confirming Robinson did not break his pinky in Game 4 or in practice, but Knicks PR staff said the team would not go into specifics with that injury. Game 1 of the Finals is next week on Wednesday. Over in the French Open, 19-year-old João Fonseca takes down Novak Djokovic, becoming the youngest player to ever beat Djokovic. And also, with this result, this year's tournament would be the first men's major in the Open era that does not feature at least one former major champion in the round of 16. Then in baseball, Bisons are home tonight against Lehigh Valley. First pitch is at 6:05. That game can be heard on our sister station, The Bet, 1520. While in the majors, Jays at Baltimore at 7:05. Mets host the Marlins at 7:10. Then at 9:40, Yankees out west against the Athletics. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Welcome to the Hotel Hell. Check-in time is now, check-out time is never.
It's Mike Schopp.
Does my room have cable?
No. And the sheets are made of fire.
Can I change rooms?
Sorry, we're all booked up. Hell convention in town.
And the Bulldog.
Can I have a late checkout?
I'll have to talk to the manager.
You're not the manager, even in your own fantasy?
I'm the owner. The co-owner. With Satan.
It's Mike Schopp.
Okay. Just so I understand it, in your wildest fantasy, you are in hell. And you are co-running a bed and breakfast with the devil.
And the Bulldog.
Yeah, but I haven't told you my salary yet.
Go.
$80,000 a year.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
Happy Friday. Thanks for tuning in. Too bad you weren't here for the last 2 minutes. Because we were talking golf technique.
That's what we're doing.
Move over tee to green.
That's what we're doing.
Actually, I have no business even in the conversation compared to you by how often you play or have played in the last couple of years and how well.
This year is we're off to a very slow start. I've not even played a weekday round at Delaware yet.
But you were watching this PGA event.
Yeah, Matsuyama was in the fairway 144 yards out, and the graphic said he was going to hit a 9-iron. And I thought, that's very close. Like, depending on the wind, like 150 is my 8-iron. So 144, I might pull a 9-iron. And usually these guys, we're watching the pros play, and it's more like 144 yards, and they've got a pitching wedge or a lob wedge or whatever. It's like some gap wedge, like
52 degrees.
It's just like a 100-yard club for me, and they're trying to hit 150, 160 yards. And I'm like, wow, this Matsuyama, like this speaks to me. I might hit that exact same shot with that exact. Well, I would hope to hit the same shot. He hit a very nice shot close to the pin. But I might use that same club.
I wish I had seen it because I'd want to know why. Because I bet from that distance that's not his usual
I would
choice.
Think not, yeah.
But, like, what was the slope of the green, and did he want to spin it or not spin it? Because I think, as you're listening to Tee to Green 2, T2 Green 2, we got to figure out a better name.
Everything about... Sorry,
if you'd want to sort of hit it and not generate any spin when you have a club like that. But if you had like the big lob wedge or something, think like McIlroy or one of these guys who's trying to spin it back 20 feet, right? So
yeah, I did not notice. I was too busy just contemplating. Like, am I seeing that right? He's hitting a 9-iron. I might hit a 9-iron from there. Wow! And then I know he got it pretty close, but I did not see if it bounced and rolled up or what. I don't know what he did with the shot. I just know it was a good shot.
I'm just guessing it wasn't a lot of spin on it.
Right, yeah. And maybe the reason you would choose that because maybe 144 is just pushing it to get the ball past the hole enough to then use the spin. So if you don't think you can hit that shot, like if it's 144 to the flag, you might want to hit that shot 155 yards and have it spin back.
But he didn't do that.
But he didn't do that. Maybe he doesn't think he can get there with that club.
Maybe the green slopes away from the hole.
Could be.
And you couldn't spin it back up a hill.
That could be too. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, we see him
long suffering.
Yeah.
Our listeners.
long suffering.
Long suffering.
Yes.
Well, what is long suffering? So the Knicks, I saw this article today that referred to the fans as long suffering. And I guess not only, I'd have to give it to them, not only have the Knicks not been to the finals since 1999, I believe, but a lot of those teams were like huge money rosters and they were just total flops. Embarrassments.
Yep.
That's pretty tough for a fan. I don't even mean somebody that goes to games, but you get hyped for a certain team and it's stars and then they're just like this laughing stock.
I sort of feel like the Knicks, don't let this sidetrack us too much. The Knicks of the 2000s maybe have kind of been like the Leafs of the 80s, where it's like you're a flagship franchise. They didn't have big stars probably, so it's fallen apart already.
The Leafs?
The Leafs. Like you're a marquee franchise, but you just can't get out of your own way. And people are mad at your owner, and there's been plenty of that with the Knicks. Like it's been burdensome, I think, to be a fan of that team.
Well, are they then no longer long-suffering because they're in the finals? Don't they have to win? That makes me,
You're right,
overthinking, but that makes me think that it really is not so much about championships necessarily. I think the Pirates, sure, pretty much a doormat for 30 years. They don't spend the money.
Right.
They don't keep their top players. Maybe that's changing, but that's been true for decades.
Right.
That's suffering when you know, like this happens in baseball maybe more than, although the format changes this a little bit, where you just know you're dead from the beginning. Your team has no chance.
Yeah.
And that's been a lot of the Pirates, and there are other teams. The White Sox have been like this.
I do think long suffering is more appropriately used on a team like the Pirates than it is on. Even though the Knicks have not been good, they've been in the playoffs. It's long suffering with being not meeting expectations, as opposed to long suffering like we're not even sure you're really trying. Right, there's a very big difference there. Like, are we like? I like how you asked when I said like we're long suffering, right? I don't know. Did we suffer through the spring just now? I had the time of my life between mid-April and a couple of weeks ago. I mean, honestly, because it felt like it was never coming back for a long time, and the longer it went, the more real that possibility started to become. Like they're never gonna figure it out, and then suddenly they did, and like I don't know, they lost in Game 7 of overtime. There's some suffering there that's bitter, that's disappointing, but I don't know. Like I had a blast. I really did. I don't feel like I'm suffering anymore, and I don't really feel the Bills' playoff losses and the colossal disappointment and ineptitude at times, 13 seconds. You got this controversial no catch interception thing last year that cost them dearly. I mean, that call goes the other way. Cooks holds onto that ball for a fraction of a second longer. They're kicking a field goal and they're playing New England. And maybe they're in the Super Bowl. So there's suffering within that, but I would not say the last 6 years of Bills fandom has been suffering at all. It's been close to marvelous, if I can use that word for a change.
I have to think about the Bills one, because there are different ways to define suffering. And when you lose heartbreaking fashion, kind of every one of your famous seasons ends in this.
Right.
You can think of that as suffering basically for the entire existence of the team, or since the merger or whatever. Like, I think you can go there. I had fun with the Sabres, obviously, as well. I don't feel like the suffering has been canceled. Like, what they did was, likewise, lose a heartbreaker as much as we liked them and as good as they were, they still did that. And I don't know that you can really change that particular script until you win it. Then the suffering is over. I mean, the Knicks, I'm looking now. The Knicks have won 7 playoff series in the last 4 years, including this one. Won 7 playoff series in the last 4 years. They made the conference semis twice. That's the second round. They made the conference finals last year, and then they won the conference finals this year, and they're not done. So it doesn't feel like suffering.
Right.
It's interesting to me how you want to frame it by years. Like the last 5 years of the Knicks, not suffering. The last 25, yes,
Probably
okay.
suffering. Yeah, right.
The last 50, I don't know. I mean, that's every team you can kind of do that. Depends on your age a little bit, but I would still, Sabres fan, I think Leafs too. I think a Leafs fan, and this might be the Bills if they come out the other side without winning one first, and like, well, that was a fun few years.
Let me tell you, I mean, my friend John Gale, I mean, I talk about him often enough. He's a recurring character on the show. He is carrying that Leafs. I mean, he 67 is right there. Like and he's old enough. Like he experienced it as a kid and has lived. I mean, he's 74 years old now, I think 70. Like he's lived a life, and like as an adult, it's never happened. That is suffering.
I think the Leafs have to be long suffering.
Yeah, I think that is. Yeah.
And when they got to the playoffs, most of these last 10 years, they didn't advance.
Right. And what I think makes it even strong, this is why I connected the Knicks to the Leafs right away. It's you're in the market for the sport. You're you are the flagship. And so, when you're a little kid, you don't really think about that. But as you grow up and you understand how things work and your team's place in everything, I think that adds to the suffering because you're sort of a beacon, like you're a hallmark, and you can't seem to ever get it done. And I think that leads to suffering because the expectation is always there. You have all the resources, you sell out the building without even ever. I'm sure they do marketing, but I doubt it really is necessary. Like, are people going to forget to buy their Maple Leafs tickets if there's not a billboard on the Don Ross or whatever? Like, probably not. Don Valley.
The Don Valley Parkway.
Don Valley Parkway.
Bob Ross.
Don Ross. Golf course designers. What am I doing?
Donald Ross.
The Don Valley. Anyway,
who's the all-time Ross?
Should have just gone with the Gardner. But anyway, you get it. That is a certain kind of suffering. It's not we can't get to the playoffs. It's we can't do anything with it. And, we've got more resources and we're maybe more desirable as a place to play than any place on earth. But we still can't figure it out. That is suffering, I think.
Long-suffering Leaf fans, I can listen to that.
Yeah.
Long-suffering Knicks fans, I defer to more serious NBA fans, which is most people who follow the NBA versus me. And I think maybe you can say it. Long-suffering Sabres fans, I'm still there. Like that big step forward this year. But that's 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't end up in a win. So I think I'm still going with that. The Bills one is more in the middle where suffering just does not really feel like the right word. Unless you just frame it by titles. And if you do that, that's a lot of teams. Right. And a lot of them would sound, I think, ridiculous to us to describe as long-suffering, just because they haven't won a championship in however long. I mean, with the Bills and Sabres, it's by the Super Bowl era, zeros, right? So, a lot of us are fans of both teams. I don't know. It's an interesting term. To say long-suffering Bills fan really disqualifies, like you kind of said already, a lot of amazing highlights and wins and players. Yep. Even like it works less well for me than with the Sabres. And maybe that changes in 5 years and goes the other way.
Yeah, that's why I think if we'd had this conversation in I don't know, off the drought ending in 2017 even. Like, that would have been hilariously premature, I think. To like, oh, I'm not suffering anymore. They made the
Right.
they made the what?
Right.
What are you talking about over there?
That's a good point.
And even in 19 or 20, when Allen looked like he was hitting, I still don't think. But now I've got a body of work where I've been close, and like, yes, suffering through the disappointments is still a thing. Every one of them is different. I'm not going to lay them all out again. I already took a quick run at it a few minutes ago.
And you ended up on the Don Valley Parkway.
I ended up on the Don Valley Parkway, right. But ultimately, I would not refer to the past 6. I already said it. The past 6 years as a Bills fan to me are not suffering. The drought was suffering.
Suffering. If you said that now as a Bills fan, you'd get laughed at by a fan of most other teams.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear about our suffering.
Yeah, right. That's it. I think objectively, I can't be there anymore.
But you're right that did not end at the drought breaker.
That's right. That's right.
It ended at Allen.
That's why I started there. That's where we are with the Sabres. Even though they didn't go out in the first game, like the Bills did those first 2 years in 17 and then in 19, they won around, but it is still just, as much as they're now a contender, you're still in the starting chute pretty much. Like, you're not really on the course yet. Barely. Next year will tell us a lot about that. Like, are they real? Are they here to stay? At least, for whatever a team's window can be. You like to extend it as far out as you can, but they look like they're set up to be really good for at least a few years. While Thompson and Dahlin are still, and Power are all at the peak of their abilities, which is really where they are right now, those guys. You should be able to fill in the rest with what you've got coming, and whatever happens with Tuck, whatever. But you still got to do it. You still got to go. You got to make sure you don't lose 8 in a row in December. Like, you just can't. I mean, you can if you win 10 in a row coming out of it, I suppose. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to prove that you can consistently be that good. Mm-hmm. And I'm very optimistic that they will prove that they are that, but they haven't proven it yet. And until they do, the suffering still applies more there, I think.
I hesitate to use the word trivia because I know our history today with that word.
A little sour. Yeah.
Give me the 3 NFL teams that actively have won playoff games in at least each of the last 2 seasons. It's only 3.
And these are all actual football teams?
This time, yes.
Okay.
They're the Seattle Sonics. They're not only non-football teams, they're all defunct. So it's active football teams. The Kansas City Kings.
Well, the Bills are one of these teams.
Yes. The Bills have won a playoff game each of the last 6 years. That's pretty good. I wonder what that would be historically. Like, how close to a record is that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. If it's not, I doubt it's the top, but it's probably pretty close. The next team that comes to mind to me to answer this question would be Houston.
Houston is right.
Okay.
3.
And then who else? I think I want to say Rams.
Right.
Okay.
Very good.
I'm looking at the team. Seattle, no. Bears, no. Eagles, I thought, but no. They lost to Tampa that one year. Pretty, like, within the last 3 years, I think. Didn't they?
Yes, okay. But even more. They lost. They didn't win a playoff game last year, I think.
Okay. Well, good.
Who beat them?
I don't remember the Bears. I don't remember the bracket. No.
San Francisco.
Okay.
Wild card.
All right. So they're
So the Bills have won a playoff game 6 years in a row. The Texans with 3, the Rams with 2 are the only teams with more than 1. Chicago, San Francisco, New England, Denver, and Seattle are 1. That's it. Not every team can win playoff games every year, right?
Right.
The leader actively for most consecutive appearances is Buffalo with 7. They've been to the playoffs 7 years in a row, starting with that game in Houston, the loss. Philadelphia is 5, and 4 other teams are 3. Kansas City streak is over. Baltimore, if they had a streak, is over. So, yeah. So
Detroit may have had a little streak going. That's over. Yep.
Correct. So suffering you can only really apply it to the Bills if you want to talk about the entirety of their history. And if you call it long suffering, then it's a little bit sad for me.
Yeah,
it's been a little bit better than that.
I think what I'm feeling here ultimately is that it's a little too synonymous with not winning titles.
Yeah.
And that is almost always something that I will want to push back against. You know, it's a stop and smell the flowers sort of vibe. You know, it's still super. It's great to go have these seasons where you think you might win the Super Bowl. I know it's bitter when they don't, but you're not like an alien. You're not from Mars if you think the Bills have a look at it every year. And I don't know, as a sports fan, I don't know how you could describe that as suffering. I mean, I know ultimately it is, again, you're crying at the end, but I don't know, like the whole thing isn't suffering. It's hoping and praying and enjoying and smiling and drinking. And it's fun. It's just fun is what it is. So it's all of that.
According to this page on Wikipedia, this is a good go-to site for me for like streaks of this nature. New England seems to have the NFL record, having won a playoff game in 8 consecutive years, at least one. Kansas City at 7. That would have just ended.
Right.
Probably. Nobody knocked them off in those playoffs.
Right.
So New England had 8 in a row. Kansas City had 7 in a row. The Bills active at 6, and Dallas from some period of time, maybe the 70s, has also a stretch of 6 years in a row with at least one playoff win.
All right.
5 for Cleveland, Philadelphia, Green Bay, the Raiders, Baltimore, and Seattle. And the reason apparently that Cleveland makes that list, because who can remember any Browns, anything in the playoffs, is the NFL includes the All-American Football Conference records. So they did it then in the 40s.
Well, nice to know they're 2 years behind New England there. So in 2 years, when the Bills win a wild card game over someone and then lose in the divisional round when the ball bounces off of Jackson Hawes' face mask as the Bills are going in for the game-winning score with no time left on the clock, and it gets returned for a pick 6 instead, I'll be able to say, well, hey, they tied New England. 8 years in a row winning a – yeah, it took a turn.
The only thing you could have done to add to that is say that wild card win you just mentioned was against somebody's backup quarterback.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Or Geno Smith.
I was going to say him too. Cleveland Browns, long suffering, absolutely.
Yes.
But the 50s or the 40s, absolutely.
Right. You got to go back to black and white highlights? Yeah, no.
That could be a good measuring stick.
It's not. Yeah, that's
where
not
the game's
okay.
in color.
And you absolutely would be as justified as any team's fans have ever been to hate your team with the power of 1,000 suns when they made the Deshaun Watson trade. Like that's like baked in to the misery, and it's still incredible. Like I never could imagine being a fan of that team, talking about them on the radio for a living, and they make that trade. I think I would have had to quit. I would not have been able to, with a clear cut, sitting here like, hey, aside from the 32 sexual assault cases, I thought he spun the ball pretty well today. Oh my God, shoot me!
Sorry to laugh, but
it's dark but it's bad.
Long suffering. How many fan bases can really lay claim to that? Are we 2 of them? 803-0550 for your calls. Thanks for listening on this sunny Friday. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Game 5 of the NHL Eastern Conference Finals is tonight. Carolina plays host to Montreal. Hurricanes can move on tonight to face Vegas in the Cup Final with a win tonight. Puck drop is at 8, while for the NBA, Game 7 between the Spurs and Thunder, that is going to be tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Looking ahead, though, to the NBA Finals, Knicks center Mitchell Robinson was announced yesterday to have broken his pinky. He has already had surgery, and the plan is, as of right now, for him to play Game 1. We got a little more information earlier this afternoon, head coach Mike Brown confirming Robinson did not break his pinky in Game 4 or in practice, but Knicks PR staff said the team would not get into specifics with the injury. Game 1, though, of the finals is middle of next week on Wednesday. Over to the French Open, 19-year-old João Fonseca takes down Novak Djokovic, becoming the youngest player to ever beat Djokovic. And with this result, this year's tournament would be the first men's major in the Open era that does not feature at least one former major champion in the round of 16. And then in baseball, Bison's home tonight against Lehigh Valley. First pitch for that game is at 6:05, and that game can be heard over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
We've made it very clear with Alex Tuck all along that he's a big part of our group. We like him. He does a lot of things for the team. He's a penalty killer. He can play on top two lines. He plays on power play. He plays big minutes. He's a big man who can skate. There's a lot of positives about Alex Tuck. At the same time, we always have to look at how can we make the team better. Salary cap's a real thing, and we got Jeff Skinner's buyout costing us $6.45 million next year. We're a little bit squeezed for 1 year, and then it opens up a bit. He's a valued member of our team, and we hope we can come to a solution.
Jarmo Kekalainen on the Fan 590 in Toronto, much the same sentiment, but different words and a interestingly specific reference to Skinner's contract there.
Which might be like a little codified sort of like, we don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. It could be. There's one thing he said in there that I know that I have not brought up enough that I think might be getting overlooked, at least it's been getting overlooked by me, and that is how big Tuck is. His size, his physical size. Like the game, I know the game has changed and like smaller guys and speed and skill and all this stuff. Like when the playoffs were, halfway through, I remember a TNT night where Darren Pang mentioned how Thompson and Tuck are, I think even used the phrasing twin towers. And it's funny, I think I said at the time, the morning, the day after that, like, I don't feel like I think about Tuck that way, but he is 6'4". Like, he is a big dude. And watch what Carolina is doing to Montreal. Carolina's talking a lot about what they've learned. I mean, they've had a bunch of shots at this round of the playoffs and have managed to win like one game in 3 series prior to this run they're on now. And I'm reading about the notes that they took from Florida. And just how hard every shift, every play, everything is just physical. We are going to try to wear you down. And, like, I know, like, Tampa didn't exactly, that was one game. They tried to intimidate the Sabres, but we never got a series, of someone. I guess Boston, to an extent, tried to do some of this, but they didn't have enough talent to really pull it off. They're not Florida or even Tampa. Florida's going to be back. I mean, I'd be stunned if they're not back. I don't know if Bobrovsky will be their goalie or not, but they're going to get healthy, and they're going to be playing the way they play. And if I'm thinking about the playoffs, and even thinking about I'm sure this isn't lost on Kekalainen. There's a reason why he mentions Tuck and his size. The trade deadline, they went and got tough big guys to try to combat that, try to be ready to play Tampa, and then it turned out they didn't need to play Tampa, and we never really saw much of those guys.
Did they wait too long to come off that?
Maybe.
Stanley had an injury, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. But I just think in the whole Tuck conversation, like even if Helen Hughes, Osland, that's it. That's the guys that weren't like actually on the team full time this year. They're all on the team. One of them can or together they reasonably produce what Tuck. You don't really suffer in the production department. When I get to the playoffs, what's that going to look like? Am I going to just be able to skate circles around Florida because they're so good and fast and skillful? Or am I going to get pinned up against the walls and get the crap knocked out of me? I mean, Tuck's just one guy, but he's one big guy who scores 60 points and 30 goals and is on the ice in all situations for you. And I just wonder about their ability to handle that kind of game if he goes. And, again, I'm sure this isn't lost on Kekalainen. His behavior at the trade deadline tells you it wasn't. And him bringing it up to the guys that was the Fan 590, maybe is a clue that he's going to realize he needs to find more of that and not just settle for a bunch of, 5'11", 180-pound 20-year-olds.
Yep, I think that's probably right. We saw clues that he's interested in. Size matters to him.
Yep.
Here's Patrick with us. Hi, Patrick.
Hey, guys. I was just listening to your conversation about this long-suffering qualifier. I'm not sure if you already brought this up. I just thinking on my drive home, I'm wondering, are we currently the only major U.S. city that has two teams without their current, one of the current titles with two major North American sports teams? I think we are. I was thinking San Diego, but I guess they only have one.
Utah
team right now.
Utah's getting a little cute because the hockey team just got there.
Right.
Salt Lake.
But I want to bring that up because you had sort of mentioned maybe it qualifies for the Sabres and not the Bills. It's difficult for me to divorce those two things because I don't know if you guys mentioned this, but I think one of the maybe aspects that makes our suffering present even during fun times like the Josh Allen era is when you have whatever a combined, I don't know what it would be, 55, 140 years or whatever it is of potential Super Bowls or Stanley Cup, and you have zero. I think most Bills fans in a private conversation would or most Buffalo fans would share that part of them, I know it's just superstitious, but part of them maybe believes we have no proof of concept, maybe believes it's actually impossible, and that I think permeates through the playoffs where we're maybe yelling at the refs or yelling at the coaches, or we feel like there's maybe this force working against us. So, the drought is obviously this era, 7 days out of 7 versus the drought, but there was no moments during the drought as acutely painful. Forget even 13 seconds, just like last year's loss or this recent Sabres loss. These when you're so close and you lose, that in that moment is so much more painful than we're 6-8 and sort of in the hunt and we lost to the Dolphins.
It's painful. It's that part, but it's also just sort of it's notorious. They don't make movies about teams that go 7-9, but they do make the Four Falls of Buffalo, right? So it's that's its own version of suffering, no doubt. Yeah, I always respect what you have to say, Patrick, and this makes sense to me too. Utah, there's an asterisk. I don't know if there's anybody else. Seattle won. Well, they had won before, but there are a few teams like Seattle that have won more recently. Cleveland with LeBron, where they had, how
about
basically this.
Well, Charlotte, do the Hurricanes count for Charlotte?
They shouldn't.
Charlotte has.
They're in Raleigh.
Right. So the Panthers and the Bobcats, they haven't won anything. Right? I mean, the Panthers got to the Super Bowl. There's hockey, basketball, or basketball, football, hockey.
All right.
That's a comp. Charlotte, the Buffalo of the South.
Many are saying
in lots of ways.
Charlotte's weird too, though. Not just because of the Hurricanes, but Carolina Duke. I mean, not Charlotte, but no reputation at all as a losing sports town.
No, that's right. Because they don't care that much. Because nobody's from there. All the people that live there moved there from somewhere else. So they don't really care about the Panthers. They care more about the Bills, probably.
What about Boston? Have they ever won a title in any sport? Boston?
Oh, long suffering.
Let me see.
Long
suffering. No,
Boston.
yes. All right, that's out. Thanks, Patrick. See that, the name Gunnar Olszewski?
Yeah.
Apparently torn Achilles.
Oof.
The Giants, according to Adam Schefter, have 3 players that have torn their Achilles this spring.
Wow.
Roy Robertson Harris, Thaddeus Dixon, and now Gunnar Olszewski. Is that the field?
I mean, they're not having OTAs at MetLife Stadium.
No, but maybe the people are the same people.
Maybe they have the same grass installed on their practice fields. Yeah, it's possible.
I don't know.
I don't know. It would be weird if they chose to do that because the field is so roundly criticized at the stadium that you would probably want to avoid using it. But maybe there's maybe a sponsorship agreement with the turf company, so they're stuck.
Yeah, two bad players.
Tough break for your Achilles tendons.
New York Jets, long suffering.
Yeah.
And they might, although you've bet against it, make the playoffs in the next 4 years and end their, by far, longest active NFL playoff drought. I think second might be 8 years. They're at 15. They were on the Sabres track, and then the Sabres made it.
Right.
I think Atlanta might be second with 8 years in a row. So that's a version of long suffering. If they make it and lose the first round, lose the wild card, I don't know if it changes. But the drought ends. That's the first step.
Right. In order to end the suffering, you got to end droughts. There is no suffering, there is no escaping suffering while you're mired in a drought.
Yeah.
We learned that.
Chicago Bears?
Yeah.
Long suffering?
I mean, 85.
85 is their one post-merger.
I think there's just the fact that, like, they've never had a good quarterback ever until maybe right now. That's a certain kind of suffering.
Yep.
Like, hey, let me get this straight. You're telling me for, like, the last 40 years, the most important position in the sport is quarterback, and we just cannot find one who's competent no matter what?
It's the Browns, too.
That's tough.
I mean, the Browns had Mayfield, who was pretty good.
Yeah.
And he got away.
That's another piece in their thing. The Watson, all of it. Mayfield's a pretty he's not everybody's cup of tea, but I have certainly warmed up to him. I didn't love him coming out of the draft. But I totally believe in him as a competitor and as a leader and as a, decent quarterback. They couldn't wait to get rid of him. He played through his shoulder injury like, nope, we're going to go get the rapist.
Allegedly, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what they did. Watch some 85 Bears today, by the way.
That's got to be tough on the eyes. Just the video is.
It's so good on the ears, though. Summerall and Madden 85 NFC Championship game. A friend brought this game up to me for a different reason this morning, and I watched some of it. 10-0 at half, 24-0 is the final. The Bears didn't do anything on offense in that game either. Like, their defense was so amazing.
Ergo the comment about, can't find a quarterback.
Yeah.
Even the best team they've ever had a quarterback.
McMahon had a style.
Yeah, I liked him, but he was not that good.
But that team, I had the box up earlier, and then I thought we'd never get to it. But in that game against the 13 first downs to 9, the weather wasn't that. It was windy, but it wasn't snowing or anything like that, or super cold. They had 232 total yards in a 24-point NFC Championship game win over the Rams. Dieter Brock.
They have like 5 takeaways or something in the game. I'm just going to guess.
Maybe.
6 sacks, 3 fumble recoveries.
3 takeaways, 3 sacks. Right. They've done better. Mm-hmm. That team did better than that, but nobody really has any stats from that game, including McMahon and Walter Payton, 18 for 32.
See, I'd say something about, the wind. And it must have been impossible to throw the ball. But again, we're talking about Dieter Brock and Jim McMahon. Like, play that game in Honolulu, and you might get those stats.
Yeah, 85 Bears. Long suffering. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, back after this timeout. This is WGR.
me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go.
It's time for congratulations messages. Brought to you by... No, we don't have anybody for that.
What?
It's that time of the week where we congratulate people.
That's what we do.
Congratulations to Jay McKee.
Yes.
The new coach of the new AHL team in Hamilton. I pledge to get up there next season for a game to see Jay.
Okay, well, let's go together.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mean to barge in on your idea, but I love that
I
idea.
feel like now I don't want to go.
Yeah, I ruined it.
No, I'd like to see him,
Yep.
and I'd like to see him work. And, you know, it's next level down. I mean, we could see Rochester play there,
Yep.
maybe.
He's gonna end up on an NHL bench. I'm sort of surprised it's taken this long, but this is the next step. So good for him. I'm very happy to hear that news today.
Yep. Hopefully we can talk to him in the coming weeks, maybe sometime this summer.
Yeah.
Also, Janet Snyder. Congratulations go out to Janet Snyder. Her last day at KISS after 32 years was today.
Fare thee well, Queen.
Legend.
Yes.
We love Janet. She really has made one of the all-time appearances on this show as well with the party draft.
Party draft.
I don't remember if this is the right order, but, we love these drafts. We brought a lot of different people in over the course of things. Someone from the zoo. When we drafted animals, different people.
Yes.
And Janet sat in here and spent the afternoon with us. And, party draft. I've got little kids at the time, right? So give me a bounce house. I'm going to draft a bounce house at the 102 because, what's more fun than a bounce house? And she sort of
Did she draft?
gave me a face.
Yeah. And then she proceeded to draft bartender.
A hot tub.
A hot tub. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
And a bar and a pool.
bar and a pool
And a band.
And this was the first time I'd ever heard of it. This came up on the show a couple of weeks ago. You were at a wedding this happened to. We were both at another one that happened. She dropped the midnight pizza delivery.
That was Janet too?
To your party. That was her thing. Like, you've had your party, you've had your cookout, everybody had their ribs or their whatever, and it's 5 or 6 hours later, and the party's going on tonight, and here comes the pizza delivery guy. Like, whoa! I'd never, ever considered that before in my life.
I got to find that draft.
That is a great job.
Did I draft a clown?
She did a great job by her. The clown that made balloon animals.
I mean, really, once you set down a certain path, I can't draft a band or a hot tub after I drafted a bounce house.
Yeah, what the hell kind of party is this?
I don't know. It gets very confusing.
Right.
It's got to be a certain kind of party at that point, as was hers. I mean, hers was the one 100% of the people would want to go to versus mine.
Yeah.
Mine's the kind of party where you want to be able to drop your kids off and leave.
Right. Which is, serves a purpose.
But when we got the bounce house a few times, the adults would go in it. It was like big time bounce house,
Okay.
and we would go in it.
All right.
Barely would be able to, sustain me. There's a certain weight limit.
Yeah.
Where, not all the adults could go in at the same time,
One
I
of the
think.
things you just don't experience anymore as someone with adult children, as opposed to little kids, like you're talking about, like bounce house era kids, a clown. I haven't heard the noise the balloon animal makes when the squeaking of the balloons when the guy or girl is making the animal with the balloon. There's a certain kind of, and I've not heard that sound in 10 years.
But you don't miss it.
No, I can hear it. I can't duplicate it, audibly. I don't know how to make but there's a certain, it's a quiet noise.
It's two sounds. It's the blowing and then the twisting.
It's like a twisting,
the twisting of the balloon.
Yeah.
See what I'm doing?
Yeah. No, that's the noise I'm talking about. I know it does make a sound when you blow it up, but the the handling, the turning of the balloon into a wiener dog is the noise I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
On that note.
Well, you can find that. I bet somebody will invite you to something where you would get that. Probably. Sam Panayotovich might just be that person. He's next.
Thursday, today, yeah, it's Friday.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
We so excited, we gonna have a ball today. Tomorrow is Saturday.
I'm itching inside. My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I took Deborah, went to the liquor store. I loaded up with alcohol. More specifically, vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.